Hello, everyone. Phil here, and welcome to night 2 of my live reacting to the Joon the King documentary, The Eternal Downfall of Darkside Phil. Yesterday, we covered a lot of ground. The whole first hour of the documentary covered my early days in the fighting game community and Street Fighter competitions, then how I got into YouTube early on, early reception, my original channels, early copyright strike issues, a lot of stuff. And where we left off yesterday, as a quick recap here, is basically when I started going out with my ex, my now ex, and I started branching out from doing just gameplay content into other things, notably Project 7. And that is where we ended. It was the perfect time to end it there because it was the end of a topic and moving on to a new topic. And I said, let's call it here. So tonight, that is exactly where we will be picking up. And hopefully, we'll get through perhaps another hour of the documentary tonight. If you want to know the truth, I think there may be some stuff coming up in here that, I'm actually not fully aware of the full story of, at all, because I don't really know how much this goes into detractor content and knowing about the detractors and what they've done to me and things like that. Like, I only know from my perspective. And I think that this is the beginning of the online movement against me, is what's covered tonight. Probably this is how you don't play, and then the original groups of detractors like the SOK and stuff like that. I really don't know that much about that. So this might actually be quite interesting. Okay, and I'm very excited to see where this goes tonight. And go from there. I think we're gonna, hopefully, if we get the right pacing tonight, I think that we may actually get to, hold on, because it's going to play the audio. No, I muted it. Good. I think we might actually get to the incident. And then possibly to the point with the machinima deal and stuff that happened. But I'm not sure. Like, we'll see how far we actually get tonight, depending on how much I have to say about all these different topics. It also depends on, to what extent Joon went into detail on said topics, because I don't know. So it's going to be fun, but it's also going to be stressful to go through this again. You know, pretty nuts. Anyway, so good stuff coming tonight. If you're here to relax and enjoy and see my reactions to my own shortcomings, you're definitely in the right place. We're going to begin in 5 minutes at 7 p.m. Pacific sharp. What I'm going to do is I'm just going to post up that we are live. I would recommend all of you that are here, grab a drink or a snack. If you need to use the restroom, do it now, because I'm going to be going straight 2+ hours without breaks, just going forward with this. And obviously you don't want to miss it. It is ad-free, absolutely no advertisements on tonight's stream whatsoever. However, I would ask, if you are here and you're enjoying the content, if you could support it in some way, whether that's giving this stream a like for engagement purposes, whether it's a super chat, a membership for yourself, a gifted membership for your fellow viewer, or tipping me, because, we're going to try to hit the goals, just like I always do, okay? So thank you, all, and I'll be back in just a moment. Let me go post this up everywhere, and then we will begin. Be right back. Okay, guys. Hold on. Hello. Can everyone see me and hear me? I just want to be sure we're good before we begin here tonight. Because some people seem to be under the impression the stream's not live, but it most definitely is. And I also posted it up everywhere. How are you all? We're good? Everyone's okay. Cool. Everyone's saying, yes, I'm here. They're responding to me. Excellent. All right. Here we go. Good evening, everyone, and welcome to night 2 of my live reacting to my own documentary by Joon the King called The Eternal Downfall of Darkside Phil. If you didn't see it yet, last night's stream is archived on this channel, DSPReacts, and you can watch it in its entirety live as it happened. I did not actually like cut out parts or anything. I made it one unedited live stream archive, and I'm planning on doing this for all of these streams over the course of this week, so you can basically watch them immediately the moment that the stream ends. Last night, we got through 1 hour of my documentary, the very first hour, and this covered my early days of Street Fighter and or the fighting game community, my ideas and how I became a YouTuber, my early successes, some early problems with copyright and Blip TV and stuff like that, and basically went through all the early days, all the way up to me getting together with my now ex and doing things different from just plain gameplay, such as Project 7, okay? So, that's where we left it. And it seemed like we got great progress. We're basically like 57, 58 minutes into this 3-hour, 42-minute, giant, monstrous documentary. Tonight, we're going to start right where we left off. All right, continuing on with the Project 7 and then everything else after that. There's so much to cover in this documentary that I actually wonder to what extent Joon covers certain things. And I also wonder how much of this I'm going to know and not know, because a lot of this he goes into content like covering my trolls and stuff, and I don't really know that much about them at all. Quite honestly, I just ignored them or raged about them messing with me, but I never really looked into who they were or watched their content or anything like that. So if he actually like goes deep in, that's going to be all stuff that's completely new to me, that we're going to learn tonight, and you'll be getting my genuine reactions to all of that information for the very first time. We'll see how it goes tonight, okay? I plan, if everything goes according to plan, just like last night, probably we'll get through another hour of the documentary tonight. This stream will probably last about 2.5 hours-ish, because I'll be looking for like a logical stopping point to stop on a topic that makes sense. Just like last night, this is a demonetized stream, meaning when you're watching live, there's no ads. There will be no ad breaks whatsoever, and I'm planning to go a straight 2.5 hours without breaks. I'm probably not going to take any breaks unless I absolutely have to, like a bathroom break or something like that. But I'm planning to just go, all right? And so I hope that you guys will hang in there. And, I know this is a long, arduous task. I took all this time out this entire week to do this because I knew I wanted to get it done all in one go. And so, that's why I'm really doing it every single night, just to get it hammered out. So I hope that you guys will be along for the ride with me. Last night went really smoothly, but I will say this, okay? FYI, since it's demonetized, yeah, it would be absolutely awesome if you guys could support the stream. Last night you did, all right? So if you could, please consider contributing in some way if you're here live. There's many ways to contribute, including super chats, memberships, gifted memberships, and tips. And I will be stopping to shout out contributions during my live react as if it's a normal stream for me, so that we can hopefully hit the goals that keep it 32 straight streams where I've hit my King's Tips goal. Let's keep it going tonight. Let's crush it yet again as I go through the arduous task of reacting to my past. The further in we get, the sweatier it's going to get. By the end, I'm probably going to have like daubing my brow trying to get through this dang thing. All, you know what I mean? It's going to get worse and worse. So we're just at we're at the beginning stages, right? of this kind of stuff going on, right? So, we're going to get started in just a moment. First shout out of the night is a $2 tip. Let's go, Felted, etc. Get them king from Fart Fella Smart Smella. There's absolutely no way I'm putting that name on the leaderboard. Fart Fella Smart Smella. But I appreciate the $2 tip. to get the night started. That's nice of you to give us the first tip before we begin here with the reacting. And what was your name? Fart? Here, FFSS is your name. That's your name. All right. So I'm going to turn on my air conditioner. I'm going to need it. I get the feeling. Get it blasting here. Get it cool in here. And John Smith, I have absolutely no idea if that's a real picture of me graduating in the video from you know, yesterday, the first part. It maybe it's a weird angle, so I can't really tell, but it could be. I'm not sure. Okay. That's it. I got nothing else to shout out, guys. Nothing else so far. So hopefully we'll get some good support tonight. Let's go ahead and get started with the reacting so we can make some good progress. All right. So FYI, as of right now, Joon the King's documentary about me has 428,000 views in about a day and a half. So I would predict that maybe by tomorrow morning, in 2 days, maybe it'll hit 500K, which would be pretty awesome for him, obviously. I wish him the best. I hope that it continues to get reach. He even had said that this was his first ever documentary that he did that was trending on the trending tab on YouTube. His others never made it. Mine did. So it's giving him a boost, which is great. I told you, it's all about engagement, right? It's about liking videos, leaving comments. That engagement gets you on the trending tab, and the next thing you know, your videos are getting seen. You find them in the search, and that's what's happening. So keep it going, and thank you for watching not only, you know, my reacts to his stuff, but also, you know, watching his raw thing. You know, the way I split it up here, this gives you guys ample time to actually be watching this over the week before I even finish it. Instead of rushing through and doing it all in one go, this gives people tons of time to kind of get a preview of what's coming up, right? Very good. Okay, we're about to start, but I just received a $5 tip from two last names. The only event more infamous than Watergate is the incident. Yes, I think we'll get to the incident tonight. It's about an hour from where we are, but I do feel like we're going to get to it. Like, a lot of this detractor stuff, I'm just going to press play and watch and listen, and maybe kind of, I don't know that much to add to that stuff because I wasn't involved in it. I only saw it from my perspective of the person being trolled, so I didn't know what was really going on. It's going to be more of an education. If he dug the information up and everything about these guys, that's going to be total new information for me that I never even knew. You know what I'm saying? So I'm fascinated by this. Let's see what happens tonight as we get through this. And again, I thank you all for giving me your time. The funny part is, so last night we had a lot of people, and I'm curious, every night will we get just as many people on the stream? Right now, we're not even close to what we had last night, but I don't know if people were waiting for particular parts. Like, it is kind of weird that the earlier parts got more views when they're really not, they weren't even that dramatic, you know? But it's going to get ramped up and more dramatic every night we do this, seriously. So, okay, are we ready to begin? All right, again, any contributions come in, I will shout them out as appropriate during the stream. Let's get started.
Capture card to improve the quality of his videos, he sought experimentation elsewhere.
Here we go.
Project 7 was Phil and Friends' answer to the higher quality of videos found on YouTube. A summary of the plot is that Phil's gaming talent was stolen and that he has to travel through 7 gaming worlds to find and reclaim it. The stars were Phil, his best friend John Rambo, and their mutual friend Howard, which Phil claims was more so just John Rambo's friend. In charge of the editing, which was the heavy lifting, was more friends of John Rambo known by their channel Respect the Pact. They offered their...
Actually, already, Respect the Pact were actually friends of Howard. He was the one who pitched the whole thing, actually. He wanted me to do work with them somehow. And so we had a meeting at Starbucks, and we just pitched different ideas, and eventually we came up with the idea for Project 7 together after all talking about it in like a roundtable fashion.
Assistance with the project for the sole purpose of a shout-out, which they hope will launch their YouTube career.
Right.
Hello, I'm John, and I'm joined by Howard. Woohoo! So
this is going to be them in a video that they made about me in 2015, many years later, because Project 7 we made in 2011 and part of 2012. In 2015, after I had moved away and all our relationships had changed, like we weren't close friends anymore, they made this video and basically kind of told their side of a story that they had never even told me. So when this video came out, and the audio you're hearing is from this video, it's just audio only, but it is a video on YouTube. I was shocked just as much as everyone else because they had never expressed anything in this video to me directly ever. They just decided to go around me and put this video on YouTube. Go figure. Okay.
So it was a lot of work for them. I don't think it was much work for us, despite what Phil would have talked about how hard the day was. It's such a
No,
long
it wasn't.
day.
It wasn't hard. It wasn't hard for us. It was hard for them.
Yeah, I mean, it was one day of filming.
Yeah.
Maybe 7 hours.
Respect the Pact put in a tremendous amount of work to edit the project that only made it to episode 4 because one of the members had a child on the way, and the shoutouts that they got from the project did virtually nothing for their own personal channel.
That's
There
all
was
true.
also the fact that Project 7 was practically a failure. The entire 4 episodes, when adding up the views, did not even surpass 1 million. It was far more lucrative for DSP to continue pumping out low-quality, effortless gameplay videos that he had even gotten a raise for mid-2012. Not only was he getting a set $2 per 1,000 views, sometimes he will get a bonus simply because of the size of his channel.
That's true. Now, just to make this clear, all right, because I don't know, as he says that, if he's trying to spin it like I decided to end Project 7. That's not true at all. I had idea to make upwards of, 10, 12, 15 episodes, make it a season, make a DVD, sell the DVD, make money, go to conventions, promote it. Like, this was a big thing that we were going to do. And they just quit after 4 episodes and said that it was too much work for them and they weren't getting anything out of it. It wasn't that, Phil decided he just wanted to go back to making gameplay videos because it wasn't lucrative. That wasn't actually truthful at all. It was that they didn't want to do it anymore. So I would have kept doing it. I had all these ideas for future episodes that never got made.
The rest of the crew still desired to continue making these, and John Rambo put forth the idea that if DSP offered Respect the Pact money, then they would have no reason to stay.
That's completely false. That's not what happened at all. Respect the Pact contacted me directly and said, we don't want to go forward with the project anymore because we're not getting the attention and clout and growth on our own content that we thought we would get out of it. And we're getting too busy with other things in our own lives and we're just done with it. And I even said to them, would you consider under any circumstance doing it again? And they said, we're not sure. We were supposed to have a meeting. And this is truthful. I got food poisoning. I ate some old pizza and I got a bad stomach ache and I had to cancel the meeting. And then after that, I tried to reschedule. It just never worked. We never got back together ever again. The whole thing just fell apart. So I guess you could blame the real reason Project 7 fell apart is because I ate bad pizza and I got sick because the meeting might have gone well. Maybe at that meeting, they actually would have said, hey, Phil, we want money, right? They might have said that. And if that was the case, I probably would have said, okay, let's come to an agreement to keep going because I wanted to keep going. But we never had the meeting. They never contacted me ever again about it. It was as if they had just wanted to be completely out and I wanted to be hands off and nothing, forget about the whole project. And in fact, I reached out to a couple other people on the internet who were internet filmmakers about the possibility of stepping in to replace Respect the Pact. But basically what happened was after 4 episodes with the same crew, the same actors and everything, imagine if all of a sudden there was a giant shift in tone or shift in production quality or shift in, change. It wouldn't have felt the same. I think a lot of people might have felt resentful if I went forward with this show with another crew saying, oh, but it was really Respect the Pact doing all the work previously. Why would you keep making the show without them, right? So I said, forget it. We'll just cancel it. And to this day, I really do wish that we had kept doing it, but it just fell apart. It had absolutely nothing to do with the fact that I didn't want to pay them or anything like that. The conversation never happened. The upfront conversation was they just wanted clout on their channel and attention. And then there was never a follow-up conversation about, hey, we want money. Okay?
Then you have a number, and then split it the 5 ways, and throw them the cash,
Yep.
and offer that to them. There's no guarantee that they're gonna continue with the series, but hey, man, at least try.
Phil did not do so.
That's right, because the meeting never happened. They stopped talking to me. Like, the original meeting was never happened, and then they just stopped contacting me after that, and I was like, well, I guess it's done then. Now, I already talked about this, but I wonder if Joon will bring it up. The show made me no money at all. I lost money on Project 7, but let's see if Joon brings that up at all.
He even lied to John Rambo and Howard and said that he did offer them money, only for them to ask Respect the Pact themselves.
His response,
That's bullshit. I didn't lie. I'm telling you the truth. This is complete nonsense. Originally, up front, the original discussion was, what would you want out of this? And they said, we don't want money. We just want attention and plugs in the show. It was never once did they say, we want money. So that's bullshit.
they don't want money. They don't
That's right.
want.
That's what they told me.
They don't want any money after this.
That's what they
Based
told
on
me.
what he says, they told him that.
Yeah. And then I asked them about it, and they said he didn't even talk to them.
So they lied. In the initial discussion we had, they outright said, we do not want money. I remember the conversation that we had in person at Starbucks. I remember it. I remember staring at, I forget his name. It was the guy on the left, not the guy on the right there, but the guy on the left that you see. See, Howard's in the middle with his New York Yankees hat. The guy on the left, him and me were there first, and we were talking, and he said right to me, we don't want money. We're looking for shout outs and attention. We want plugs in your videos so people will check out our content. All right. And then the follow-up email was again with him. I forget his name. It's been so long. And that was when we were supposed to have a meeting to convene on, do you maybe want something else? And then the meeting got canceled because I had food poisoning. And then no one ever contacted anyone ever again. Okay. So they lied to Howard, apparently, about this to save face. And now I'm the one who ends up looking bad because I'm the public figure. Isn't that great? Whatever.
Phil was bold-faced lying to his two friends.
No, I was not. That is complete bullshit. You cannot prove that whatsoever. That's complete hearsay. That's nonsense.
This was already on top of other compounding, smaller problems, like Phil's jealousy of larger content creators and how he would lash out, creating unwanted
That's
attention towards his channel or just himself.
That part's
Comments
true.
would also sometimes spark jealousy of his friends and would create a response from Phil.
Case in point, in this teaser trailer, there's a funny scene featuring John Rambo, and everyone says it's the best part of the trailer. And I even saw a comment saying, "Wow, this is Rambo's the funniest thing." Guess what? I wrote that scene.
These small, inconsequential things would add up slowly and drive a rift between DSP and John Rambo. Like,
And you want to know why they did? My detractors. Because at this point, in 2012, there was a group of people starting videos called This Is How You Don't Play, which I'm sure he'll cover, okay? And then, based off of that, they wanted to try to create trolling and a rift between me and my friends. So what they would do is they would hear me say something like that in a video, and then they would go to John behind the scenes, and they would flag him in all his videos, video comments on his YouTube channel. They would email him and be like, hey, John, Phil is taking all the credit. Phil is trying to say that you didn't do anything, and he wrote everything in the show. Obviously, that's not what actually happened there, right? But that's what they would do. They put the little bug in his ear to piss him off, and it got to him, and he confronted me about it. I don't know if he'll talk about this or not. Let's see.
like when DSP lied about John Rambo not wanting to play Mario Party.
I start getting messages.
This I don't remember at all. I really don't remember this at all. Very well, maybe I did say that just to get people to shut up about it, perhaps, because I think people kept asking, "Will you play Mario Party with John? Will you play Mario Party with John?" But then I ended up playing it with my ex. Maybe I lied about that to get people to shut the fuck up about it. I don't remember at all, so I can't corroborate anything here.
And people are pissy. Oh, it's not mature enough for you, you big nose piece of shit.
Everything eventually circles back. Phil at first would pay John Rambo 50% of all the earnings in the Let's Plays he was involved in, but as it becomes more difficult to calculate their earnings with DSP's expansive catalog of videos, instead he would just toss him $100 every time he visited.
That's also incorrect. Joon made a few mistakes here, or at least he's just going off of hearsay, okay? That's completely incorrect. I was giving John 50% of the revenue on the videos he was involved in when Machinima would provide me with reports on how much money the videos made. This was before YouTube had detailed analytics on YouTube. We're talking 2010, 11, and 12, okay? When by the time that those came out, we weren't doing this anymore, okay? So the only way I could get actual data on what I made on each video, I had to each month write to Machinima, my partner network, and say, can you please give me a report? Because I really need that data to pay my friend who's essentially my employee. And I would wait and wait and wait. And then finally they would get back to me and send me a report. Eventually, Machinima had so much reorganization and change inside of their structure, they didn't ever provide reports anymore. I asked, they said, we can't do that anymore. So, and there was no analytics. So there was no way for me to know what the videos made. Now, we could guess based on, you know, view performance and what we saw, you know, previous we were making on a certain amount of views and stuff like that, you know, per video. And basically what ended up happening was John and I came to an agreement. He would basically want, like, I think it was $100 every visit, every Saturday for his time. So $100 for the whole day to hang out and play video games and stuff like that. Okay. And that was he wanted. That wasn't me saying, hey, I'll offer it. That's what he asked for. I would have given him more. If he said, I want $500 a weekend, I probably would have said yes, because I enjoyed the content we were making together. And for the record, again, I've already talked about all this and when I reacted to the John and Howard video specifically years ago. But to clarify again, re-clarify, basically, I liked doing this so much with John. I didn't see it as work. He apparently did. I thought it was a hangout session we were getting paid for, so I would have paid him whatever just to help him out. By the end, by like the last maybe year that we were doing co-op every Saturday together and I was paying him for his work, I was paying him more than the videos we're making. The videos that we were making for that one day, the co-op videos, we're not making $100 in ad revenue. They weren't. The views had plummeted. The views on our co-op stuff had gone way, way down for the most part. So I was paying him $100 a week when we were probably making $50 on ads. So I was out all that money, but I didn't care because I was helping my friend. You understand? Like, that's all I really cared about, was helping him out. If he had asked for more, I would have given him even more. Okay? So there you go. That's plain as day, the truth. I've already talked about it 2 years ago, and my story has not changed, okay? So I don't know if Joon's going to play my side or not. He's literally only playing John's side here when I have already reacted to this and given my side. We got a couple shout-outs to do. We've got Kruger, who did a $10 super chat, says, I'm not going to lie, this is a lesson. You'll learn doing business in anything creative. Never take work from someone for free, or they'll turn around under leverage and favor or lie about the agreement. Listen, I learned so much about this. Like, another thing I learned, even if someone's your friend, you always still have a business agreement in place. It's not just, oh, I'll pay you this, or we're okay with this. Because look what happened. Everything along this whole ride where John was doing co-op with me through the years of like 2010 all the way through 2014 when I moved, he didn't say a word that he was upset about money, that he was upset about the arrangement of how he had to come to my place to film, anything about Project 7, literally nothing. He never said a word of complaint at all. He every once in a while complained, like, for example, that clip where I said, oh, I wrote that scene. He did complain about that because he was upset because it sounds like I'm taking all the credit for the show when that's not what I meant. But again, that was my detractors interjecting themselves into the conversation, pissing him off. But outside of that, he never said a word. So how would you even know that someone's upset? So you're absolutely right, Kruger. Moving forward, if I ever get into a situation where I'm making a show or I'm working with another crew, I'm going to have contracts in place. Oh, you can be well assured, guys, that Mike Klum documentary about me that didn't get made, we already had contracts in place and stuff about, you know, limitation of work, if there's going to be any pay involved. That was all done up front because I learned my lesson back then about this kind of stuff. Never in my wildest dreams did I expect that John Rambo years later would be making a video on the internet crapping on me, saying that I'm such an unfair person and stuff, when in reality he never said a word to me about it in person, and I didn't think we needed to make contracts because we were friends. So I definitely 100% learned my lesson on that. Thank you, Dick Jones, for gifting 5 memberships to the community. And I also received a $10 tip from One Sick Puppy. A wise man once said, when things involve money, stuff gets funny. Yeah, you're right. Because again, until we started being involved in things like this, never was there a problem. It was just like a fun hangout session. Come over to my place, we'll play games. Maybe I'll film some of it or whatever. But then all of a sudden, when now it's money, now it's a transaction, now there's serious work involved, that's when it all fell apart. You're absolutely right. And again, for me, I kind of still saw it as fun times with my friends. I didn't really look at this like, wow, this is like crazy hard work that we're doing to pump this stuff out. So to me, I didn't think of it like that. And apparently, you know, the other people involved did. And I guess that's on me for not being aware enough of the situation and really recognizing and reading the room. But again, they didn't say anything. So if they don't say anything, I don't know, you know, and that was the situation. Is basically they had passive aggression towards me. It all pent up. And then many years later, they made a video about it instead of just talking to me about it, which would have helped me a lot more. Okay.
But also, virtually every time he did visit, DSP would move things towards wanting to record more Let's Plays rather than hang out outside the realm of YouTube. This all relates to the 2012 condo. From these repeat visits, John and Howard noticed many changes that really just amounted to additions.
Now, for the record, because he's going to talk about what I think amounts to jealousy, okay? But no, when John came over, the first thing we would do is hang out for like an hour talking. Like just hanging out. Just say, how you doing? What's going on in your life? I'll tell him what's going on in my life. Sitting down and shooting the shit. We would do all of that before we ever turned on a camera. It was a hangout session, all right? And then in between making videos and stuff, we went out, we got a meal and hung out together. So was there work involved? Absolutely. But were they also hangout sessions? Yes. Now, outside of the realm of making videos for YouTube, there was a couple other things that we did to hang out. For example, we would go over Howard's house and he would be having people play fighting games in his house. And I would go over there without a camera, without filming a piece of content, and just hanging out with them, playing games and stuff, because I was good at Street Fighter, and they liked playing against someone who was really good at Street Fighter. So the narrative falls apart when you actually hear the full story. The problem is, no one wants to hear my side. Everyone just wants to hear the negative drama side to it and emphasize that as the truth. But the truth is, a lot of this stuff is fabricated or over-exaggerated to try to prove a narrative that they're trying to prove that I'm a bad friend and a bad guy. I wasn't really invited to anything. Like, for example, there was never a party that they say, hey, Phil, would you just come over to a party and hang out with us? That never happened. I'm serious. Only those Street Fighter gatherings. Outside of that, it wasn't like, oh, it was John's birthday and I was invited to his house and I didn't show up. Or, you know what I'm saying? Or Howard was having a cookout. That's the opposite. In fact, I did cookouts and things at my parents' house, and they came. So I have no idea what they're talking about here outside of the realm that maybe they wanted to do less work, but they never said that to me. So I don't know. Okay.
Like at least BMW.
We start showing up to your house, and what do we see? The guy starts buying figurines, starts buying all this ridiculous shit that there's no need to buy. Then we show up to his house.
Because it's my money, and I can do whatever I want with it, Howard. I'm the one who's working my ass off 7 days a week, pumping out tens of thousands of videos to make a lot of money. So I can spend my money however I want. If you came over my house and I was wearing a fucking platinum mink robe from head to toe, and I had gaudy jewels all over me and a big metal grill on my mouth, and I had fucking cocaine all over my countertop, and I snorted it right in front of you, you can't say anything because I earned it, because it's my money that I earned being a YouTuber. What is your point? What this is, he's ranting because he was in a few playthroughs in Project 7. And he thinks that somehow the few playthroughs in Project 7 that he was involved in would have amounted to like him making tons of money or something. No, Howard, it wasn't. It was me busting my ass in all those gameplay videos by myself that made that money that I could buy all those figures and I could lease the BMW with. So what are you talking about? You have no fucking point. All you're doing is you're exposing yourself for being incredibly jealous by saying these things.
House one day, and what does he have in the fucking driveway? A BMW. So how the fuck do you think I feel, and how do you think these guys feel after the fact?
I don't know, because they didn't tell me. If they were jealous because I busted my ass as a YouTuber to make all that money, I mean, I can't help that. You know, they never asked me for anything. They told me they didn't want money up front. I'm not psychic. You know, I'm not. What exactly do you want? So because I'm a YouTuber who makes money, you just want me to start giving it out to people in my life all around me who don't say that they want it or need it or anything like that. You just think I should just hand out money around me, even though people distinctly tell me up front they don't want it. I'm like, okay, I get. I mean, I really don't know what else to say in this situation. This is 100% pure jealousy exposed here with Howard saying this. Because again, out of all the people who had an argument, you could say maybe Respect the Pact had an argument because they did a lot of work on Project 7 that they didn't get any monetary compensation for. John got paid for his work. Maybe he was disgruntled about the amount of pay, but he never brought it up. But literally, Howard appeared in a few things with me. Every once in a while, I'd have a big bash, and he'd come over and do some gameplay with us. Again, Street Fighter stuff and Project 7, and that was it. He was the least involved of all of us. Yet he's the one who's freaking out in this video about how I had so much money and so many things, and they didn't have it or whatever. It's like, dude, you are completely exposing yourself to the world, showing how jealous you were of me. John doesn't say any of this, by the way. This is all Howard ranting about this shit in this video they made about me. And he never said a word about this to me, to my face either. But the funny part about it is, now that he said this publicly, it exposed the whole relationship that we had, because I had always noticed that Howard was kind of the guy who I would invite him and he'd always be on the fence. And a lot of the times he would cancel, or he would say he's going to do something, then he would cancel at the last minute. He used to invite me to the Street Fighter gatherings, and then he stopped inviting me. He had everyone else over, like John and all the other players in Connecticut, and not me. He just stopped inviting me outright without telling me why. But now I know why. This was why. Because he was jealous.
DSP was spending ever more frivolously. In contrast to his 2011 40-minute condo tour, this new condo tour took a total of 1 hour, 8 minutes, and 27 seconds.
This is all true, and I do regret spending a lot of my money like I did back then. I 100% do, because if I had kept it all in savings, right, like a hoarder, then probably I wouldn't have gotten to half the financial troubles that I got into in the next decade. But instead, I blew a lot of it because I never had money like that before, and I was irresponsible, and I bought a bunch of statues and clutter and shit. However, to be fair, I was also making a ton of money. Like, take a look. My condo tour is 12 parts, about 15 to 20,000 views each. No exaggeration. This condo tour alone made me hundreds upon hundreds of dollars, which just buys another statue if I want it. So it wasn't like, oh, he's frivolously spending, but he's not making the money. I was making the money, and then I was frivolously spending it. You understand? This wasn't, I actually didn't even have like a credit card balance at this point in my history. I had nothing at all. I was clean. I had savings actually at this point in the bank in the tens of thousands of dollars. I think at one point I had over $40,000 in savings saved up. Okay. Okay. I received a $2.25 tip from Walrus Nipples. I don't think you should have said that about John in the writing the scene. It made you sound like a whole. We all learn from our mistakes. Yeah, and the reason I said it, do you want to know why? Because of my detractors. Because they were attacking me, saying, oh, it looks like the entire show is good. Only the parts with John Rambo are good. Like, literally, they were saying the parts with Howard suck, the parts with DSP suck. Only anything involving John Rambo is good. So the point I was trying to make in that clip was, it's not just Rambo. It's a collective effort. Everyone is working on that show at all times. Some jokes are written by someone else, but they're spoken by a different character. For you to say that only Rambo's funny is actually kind of discrediting everyone involved. It wasn't just about me. It was about Respect the Pack and Howard and everyone. But of course, what do my detractors do? They spin it and say, oh, see, Phil's incredibly jealous of John. He can't even give him credit or anything like that. That's exactly what they did. It was them putting a wedge between me and my friends with their comments and their drama and their effort to put that crowbar in, okay? But my problem was I fell for it hook, line, and sinker. I took all their bait, and I said all that shit publicly that I never should have said. I should have just completely ignored them and gave them no time whatsoever, but instead, I did entertain it, and I talked about it, and it really upset John. Okay, let's continue.
On the surfaces of his apartment, sans some of the walls and ceilings, it became a challenge to now find a square inch of clear space. There was even an update on the corner, now wall full of boxes and trash.
It's now quickly become a graveyard of shit that I can't either, I have nowhere to put.
He's absolutely
right. For, I can't store, I don't...
For the record, my home now looks absolutely nothing like this at all. The only part, like my office here, has shit all over that I'm using, and my closet is cluttered. But outside of this room, this office, my entire house is organized and clean, and that's thanks in part to my wife, but also me. I like to keep a clean home, but me, when I was doing YouTube videos 7 days a week full time, I was a fucking mess. I was just constantly pumping shit into that place, and it was just a nightmare. I didn't take any time off to clean it or anything, so it just sat there, clutter.
I don't know what to do with it, all right?
Yeah, Asmund Phil, you're right. I in the past have said, oh, I heard that Asmund Gold lives in like a hoarder's mess of a place. My place was pretty bad too. There was no trash. There was no trash, no food trash and shit like that. But it was a bunch of boxes and fucking shit all around me.
DSP had run out of storage for his baubles and memorabilia.
I don't know. It's too much. Too much. And the problem is I have nowhere to put this shit. If I had somewhere to put it or sort it, I'd probably be able to see it. But it's all just a jumbled mess on top of my dresser. I need more room.
His closet, even with items optimally stored, was overfilled.
What I want to look at is just to show you what a mess the inside of my fucking closet is. I'm not going to go all the way because my luggage
look at that nice closet space.
Look at all the boxes I've got from
oh
the models.
My god.
Phil did not value or understand money, except when it came to others. Phil, when talking about Project 7, classifies it as a financial loss for the t-shirts he helped finance and, more importantly, the props they bought. This prop that Howard is holding is a Lancer from the game Gears of War and cost $300. It had less than 30 seconds of screen time and was even less relevant to the plot, yet was the majority of shared expenses. He would use this and other items.
Actually, if you want to know the truth, the handgun I'm holding was more expensive than the Lancer, because the Lancer was made of plastic, and the handgun I'm using was actually like a replica gun that had like metal and other things on it. So that gun in my hand is like $4.99 from when I bought it. And it lit up and it made noises and shit. We didn't use it for that in the thing, but yeah. And there was more. There was other things I bought. We were going to have a whole sci-fi episode, and it was going to have like scenes with Mass Effect. And I bought a life-size replica of the Avenger rifle from Mass Effect that lit up and fucking made all this sound. And that thing cost, I'm not kidding you, cost $799. Because we had already had all these plans laid out of things we were going to do with the show. So I went ahead and got all the stuff, and then it got canceled after 4 episodes. So I lost a lot of money on this show overall. But they're talking about, oh, why didn't they just get paid? Because the show didn't actually make me any money at all. What was making me money was the insane amount of gameplay videos that I was pumping out on a daily basis. That's where all my profits were coming from. This, again, like I say right now about my DSP throwback channel, I call it like a passion project. Project 7 was meant to be a passion project that hopefully we could finance and get off the ground, and then people would see what we were capable of. We could sell DVDs. We could appear at, you know, circuits of conventions, get the word out there, and then maybe we could do other shows and shit. That was supposed to be like the whole idea. But it didn't. It only got 4 episodes, and then the whole thing just fell apart. So it ended up being a giant loss for me. These guys didn't lose anything besides time. Respect the Pact are the biggest losers, because in this situation, because they worked on it the most with all the editing and everything. And again, I feel bad because, yes, I do feel like I should have paid them. If they had asked, I would have. We never had the conversation. If they said that we didn't or whatever, or did, that's a complete lie. I'm sorry that they would lie about that because they were so angry or upset or salty about the situation. But that's totally not what happened at all. That's complete bullshit. Doug Savona, thank you for a super chat. He says, this is for you, King. Thank you, Doug. And Papa Gino with a $2 super chat says, Howard sounds like a jealous bum. He's not a bum, but I do feel like he had a lot of resentment and jealousy towards me that he would never vocally say. It was passive aggression, I feel. Guys, if you're here tonight, please click like on the stream, get some engagement. It helps this channel a lot. And please support the stream if you're enjoying it so far. This is ad-free. I'm not running any ads on here tonight, so anything would be appreciated. I want to keep my streak going of tips, so if we can hit that, that would be great. Thank you for your contributions. Let's continue.
To try to convince viewers and friends that Project 7 was not profitable, disregarding his egregious spending habits.
Yeah, it's more about respect and being fair.
It's about respect, man. You have no respect for your friends, for your family. You don't give a shit about anybody but yourself.
But he didn't justify that statement. All he did was say it, but he never justified it. What are you talking about? When did I ever disrespect everyone around me? What? My family didn't have any issues with me. These guys never even said they had an issue with me. What are you talking about? He's just trying to be overly crazy dramatic to basically say, this is the end. I don't ever want to have anything to do with Phil again. So he says this over-the-top statement, but where's the justification for what you just said? You don't even have it. And again, if this legit was John Rambo saying that to me, that would hurt so bad. But the fact that Howard's saying it, who had minimal input and work done on my channel. Minimal. It was Project 7 and a few playthroughs here and there, if that. That's stupid. Like, who are you? Why are you interjecting yourself into the friendship that I had with John and into this conversation at all? You're the last fucking person who should open their mouth, because both Respect the Pact and John did more for my content than you ever did. So go fuck yourself, man. Seriously, like, get the fuck out of here with this disingenuous bullshit because you want to look like an internet tough guy.
There were plenty of examples of DSP's poor spending habits. Few trump his 3 custom-made quilts. These quilts, individually and also factoring inflation, cost Phil a minimum of $1,000.
Let me think about that. Probably right. He's probably right. Because they were very expensive, yes. But keep in mind, I was debt-free outside of paying my mortgage on my condo and this lease that I had on the BMW. I was debt-free. I didn't have any credit card debt. I was making more than enough money to pay for all of this out of pocket. This was not me racking up any kind of debt. But he's saying basically this is laying the groundwork for overspending habits. I think that's what he's saying. So let's continue.
How much was Phil earning?
The good news is this, okay? I am an intelligent person. I'm a finance major. I went to school for finance. I knew day one when I started making money off of YouTube that I was going to bank it. I was not going to go out there and invest in things that I couldn't get money out of. I'm still here in the condo. I didn't go out and buy a super over expensive house, and I didn't go out and buy a sports car. Yes, I am driving a BMW, but it's actually a lot more economical than people really think.
On DSP Gaming alone, for the year of 2012, he got 85.19 million views. Dividing that by 1,000 is 85,190. Multiplying that by $2, not $2.25, which it could sometimes be, but $2 as a base CPM for Machinima, excluding the possibility of bonuses, would mean that he made a gross of $170,380 for 2012.
Probably close to true. I don't know if that's exactly true, but it's probably very close. I think my best earning year was 2011. That was the year that I made big bank. And then 2012 was probably around that. 2013, it went down a little. And then 2014, 2015, it went down more. And then it just plummeted after 2015 because of the copyright strikes, which I'm sure we'll get to. By the way, thank you, Hard Nose, who gifted a membership and went to Harakiri Rock. Enjoy Harakiri Rock.
The problem now that he was presenting his audience, starting 2013, is that Machinima was renegotiating many of their contracts. What this meant for Phil is he went from sometimes earning $2.25 per 1,000 views to a base $2.
In the year of 2012, my views really have dwindled. And what I mean is, I believe in the year of 2011, I probably got somewhere over like 10 to 11 million views on DSP Gaming, and then in 2012 I only barely reached like 8.5 million or something like that. I don't think the final number is in yet.
DSP lied and understates his views by nearly tenfold. Not only
I probably was talking about monthly, is what I was saying. I'm not talking about overall in the year. I think that would meant like by month, because the highest I ever did on DSP Gaming was over 10 million, because Machinima, I remember, specifically paid a bonus when you got over 10 million. And so I think, at least, again, I don't even know what video that is. I think I'm stating like monthly. The highest I ever did, I was bringing in like 10, 11 million views a month. But then in the next year, it did go way down. So no, that's not me miscalculating. That's me saying monthly. Maybe I didn't say monthly in the video, but that's what I probably meant, I would think.
Is this proven incorrect by archives such as Social Blade? This is proven incorrect directly on his own YouTube channel, where there are screenshots from the start of 2000.
Right, because I'm telling you, I probably meant monthly. It's not a big deal.
2012 to the beginning of 2013 that shows he got nearly 90 million views. It was also here that Phil was toting his financial responsibility.
You don't see me here with super expensive clothes on or anything, and you don't see me wearing jewelry and shit. You know, I'm smart. I've banked my money. So regardless of what happens in this next year, I'm still okay. So I just want everyone to understand that.
Phil was ever confident that, even though he was now riding a downward trend, he could survive. His tune would change in the coming months as he would have to navigate troubles that were exclusive to him and the culture he was inadvertently creating.
All right, this is the troll arc. Yes, here we go. Here comes the troll arc. This is probably the arc that I will learn most from, because again, I don't really follow my trolls. I don't know much or anything about them. They all were hating on me, and I didn't even know who the fuck they were. I just kept making content. So I might learn a ton in this section. I might be like, oh my god, I never knew that. But to just end cap that part, for the most part, he covered the most dramatic stuff about the John and Howard and Project 7 situation, but he literally only took their side. He didn't even take anything from my rebuttal years later that basically said, no, most of the stuff they're saying is fake, you know, or over-exaggerated, or it's really only from one perspective and it's not correct. Maybe he will later, because I didn't do my response to that till like 2-3 years ago. So maybe he will later, maybe he won't. Maybe he'll just discredit and never pretend like I never rebutted. I don't know. But let's go. The two reasons. There are two underlying reasons why he would have made this video.
Come on! That's why I didn't want to fucking restart the game.
Number one, he's just insanely jealous of me.
It's not my fault. I love it.
The other is that the guy is one of these gamers, like I mentioned, who play the games to feel accomplishment.
What the?
So this is me. I think this is me reacting to This Is How You Don't Play, a series that he's probably about to explain, Joon. And this is completely, now I know, 12 plus years later. This is insanely stupid. This is the worst way I could have possibly gone about reacting to this kind of stuff. I went about it every way possibly wrong. Okay, I'll say it up front before. I'm sure I'm about to be cringing and be embarrassed with this, along with all of you, because I was a complete moron the way that I tried to handle this. Okay.
The fuck? What?
On February 15, 2013, YouTube user EvilAJ2010, in direct response to Phil claiming his videos are well received, uploaded a compilation of Phil's Metal Gear Solid 2 playthroughs with only the clips of his failures or Phil's obscene commentary.
How'd I fucking miss?
Even with that considered, the supercut was nearly an hour long. In addition to this, it included AJ's own text commentary and images of many comments found under Phil's original Let's Play. Where many channels failed to capture the negative yet entertaining aspects of Phil, AJ was succeeding. A month later, in March, his video was up to 77,000 views, and word was spreading.
DSP is a weird guy. It's like a train wreck that you can't look away from, that's on every day 10 times a day.
24 hours.
Oh, come on, guys. Come on.
I don't know who two best friends play are, but yeah, this kind of stuff started happening. Like, people started seeing This Is How You Don't Play, and this was their reaction. Everyone started talking about it, that they love This Is How You Don't Play because it highlights me in the most negative way possible as an inept gamer and a moron, completely ignoring the good parts of my playthroughs. And they loved that. Like, they thought it was a laugh riot. So again, this, up to this point, 2008 to like 2012, 2013, was like, everyone likes DSP. There are some people who are disgruntled and don't, but for the most part, everyone's laughing with him. It's a great ride. 2013, when This Is How You Don't Play began, it started to be, we're laughing at Phil now rather than with him. He's the butt of the joke. He's the loser. Why does he have success? Because look at what a schlub he is as a gamer and a content creator. And this is where all the waves of negativity started. And like you see, other YouTubers are reacting basically to those kind of videos in this way and talking negatively about me, and this big meme that Phil sucks started around this time.
The reason EvilAJ's video was so successful was both external to Metal Gear Solid and internal. The external elements that bring interest are that DSP has continuously bled viewers through his lack of editing, refusal to use a capture card, and poor gameplay. The elements that are internal, and why Metal Gear Solid was the perfect game to capture the essence of Phil, is foremost that Kojima, the person that heads the creation of the series, is well respected within the gaming community, as are his creations. The Metal Gear Solid series chiefly requires critical thinking, as it is required to appropriately employ every item in your arsenal, as well as to react quickly in tense situations. It also requires patience to be able to learn enemy patrol patterns or learn from one's mistakes. Phil lacks severely in both of these fields and approached Metal Gear Solid 2 as an action game, brute forcing his way through situations that require nuanced approaches, all while criticizing Kojima.
Kojima wants to make movies. Kojima does not want to make video games. He will really, you could tell, he wanted to make a bunch of long movies or miniseries of this stuff.
EvilAJ, in April and July, will go on to release This Is How You Don't Play Metal Gear Solid 3 and Metal Gear Solid 1 respectively. This manifestation of dislike of Phil could not have come at a worse time for him. Not only were his views plummeting, unrelated to AJ, he was also desperate to staunch the loss of viewership to the point he finally caved in and began using a capture card. He also began live streaming, though he was still not editing his playthroughs and pushing out more videos than the average person cared to watch. Phil was still steeply behind on the curve, losing viewership to rising Let's Players.
How many more people are doing Let's Plays? Like, it's ridiculous the amount of people who have gotten into it, to the point where a website like YouTube, unfortunately, doesn't really feature anyone but the top 2 or 3 guys who are doing it. I mean, let's face it. Why do you always see the same people in, related videos, featured videos? For the person who's not at the tippy top, it's so hard for people to get noticed now on YouTube.
Oh, were you expecting something else?
The irony is that Phil's accumulated viewership was influencing the algorithm to keep advertising his content.
Okay, I want to do some shout-outs before I get too backlogged here. So Arrow Squirrel does a super chat. Metal Gear Solid was funny as fuck, but not worth hating Phil. Yeah, again, what I have to emphasize here is that it was my shtick to always be over the top. If I was playing a difficult game, yeah, the game could be difficult, but I'm going to completely over-exaggerate how hard it is and yell and complain and scream That was the DSP character people knew. They knew it from when I played online in a fighting game. If I'm losing, I freak out at the person, right? So if I'm losing a Metal Gear Solid because it's actually a tough game, I'm going to complain about the game. I'm going to say it sucks. I'm going to say Kojima's a terrible game director. It's all part of my shtick. And the thing is, up until I did Metal Gear Solid, no one really cared. It wasn't like, oh, Phil's like an awful gamer or awful content creator. People thought it was funny. When I played Metal Gear Solid, all of a sudden, because it was Metal Gear Solid and Kojima that I was doing that to, it was like blasphemous. Like, how dare you criticize our gaming god and idol? Oh, holy Kojima may not be criticized. How dare you say these things? And when I saw that, okay, I essentially hammed it up even worse. Because, you know, this was not a playthrough I did in a day. This was a playthrough that I would do in a week or 2 weeks. So I'm going to ham it up even worse. I'm going to make more fun of Kojima because you claimed that you're upset by it. That's how I was. I was this antagonist, and that's how I got a lot of attention for myself. So this was the first time where it actually blew up in my face. Before this, it always worked, and people liked it. This was the first time I was like, I don't get it. I'm doing the same thing that I used to do and people liked, and now people were hating on me for it, saying like I fucked up, but I swear to God, this is the same thing I did with every other game. So I'm confused, you know, but it blew up in my face. I received an $11 tip, probably, maybe, allegedly. So we're all big mad at Phil for living like a bachelor, filling his condo with stuff of his own interests. Why is this such a topic? Why Phil, what Phil does with his income? It always has been. It literally always has been a topic. And I think what Joon's getting at is that this is an established history of being financially irresponsible. That even when I had money, I spent it on dumb shit. I didn't handle it well. And this is going to eventually lead to my financial downfall later. You know, declaring bankruptcy, having to beg my audience constantly for contributions, etc. Right? I think he's establishing a narrative and a pattern. This is the story arc. Do you understand? This is the ongoing background story of DSP. I mean, it even said in the description of the video, I've been around for nearly 20 years, leaving a path of chaos and financial ruin behind me. So that's his story. His story is that I'm bad with money. So expect more of this. There will be even more. If you're okay with a man spending his money however he wants, you're probably not going to like the rest of this documentary because it's probably going to be highly critical of me spending money. Okay? Okay.
The loss of viewership was because people were familiar with what he produced and stayed away from it despite YouTube pushing it.
There's the kind of person who would say, oh no, I lost views, stop my feet, oh man. But I would say, no, I'm going to stay positive, I'm going to keep doing what I'm doing.
Phil was losing viewership and supporters. Chris, or Mighty Furtado, the 18-year-old that co-made DSP's website and was responsible for building his computer, actually had a falling out with DSP. Starting with Chris calling DSP lazy for initially not wanting to adapt to direct capture.
That is true. If I remember correctly, he insulted me first, and it started this whole like feud between us. But let's see, because I don't really remember the situation. I want to see what Joon dug up here on this.
Which DSP demanded an apology for. At that point, Chris had had enough and stopped supporting DSP, leaving DSP to purchase the domain back.
Whenever I tried to help, he kind of just shot on me for it. So at that point, I was like, why am I going to support somebody who I've been trying to help for so many years? You know?
Whenever I tried to help, he shat on me for it. You didn't try to help. He was saying things like DSP is a dinosaur because he's not doing direct capture and live streaming. I actually just had this very same conversation with Keemstar the other day when I interviewed him, okay? I'm the kind of guy that if you talk to me with respect and being nice, I will listen to you and I will actually cherish your opinions and your criticism. If you come at me in a very negative way, trolling, insults, I'm literally going to shut you off. Even if what you're saying is valid, I don't care. You came at me in a very negative way. It's the golden rule. Treat others how you want to be treated, right? I'm sure that he wouldn't have wanted me to immediately say, hey man, you're an asshole, blah, blah, blah. Here's what you need to improve. Wait, what? But you prefaced it saying that I'm an asshole, right? So if you preface it saying that I'm a dinosaur, I'm not going to listen to you, all right? In his mind, maybe he thinks I'm helping Phil, but if you come at me in a negative, awful way, I'm not going to give a crap about what you're saying.
You know, I co-created him a website, co-created his forums, co-built his gaming PC. I've helped him so much. And when I try to help him try to adapt to direct capture, he's not kind of really taking the suggestions from myself as well as everybody else in the chat during that time.
It doesn't end there. With Chris now persona non grata, DSP made extreme claims without evidence about the price of the PC Chris had built. Chris, not pleased with this, made a video in response.
He had made a video basically stating that he had sent us apparently $3,000, and that wasn't the case.
Here's, I think, the video in question. Someone sent this to me this morning. This is the video. I'm going to show it to you. September 8th, 2013. Okay. This was a channel update that I made addressing the negativity. And this was directly addressing the situation with this man, Mighty Furtado. Okay. I think I have the timestamp right, but let's listen. Okay. It looked amazing. Had these lights and all these bells and whistles, had everything that I wanted. But I was looking at it, and it has this door. I don't know if you guys know, but on a lot of PC cases, there's a door on the front. You open the door, and inside you'll have your CD drive, your USB ports, and stuff like that. The door had a big crack on it. And I was looking at it like, how did that happen? Okay? But I didn't question it. I said, maybe, unfortunately, the case, you know, I think this is the timestamp because this is someone sent me the video this morning. We found it, but this may not be the timestamp. We're close to it, though. It showed up damaged or whatever. I don't know. But I thought Chris would have told me that this case has a giant crack on the front of it, but he never did, all right? So I finally hooked the thing up. Come to find out, when I finally booted the thing up, okay, this is what I wanted. I wanted the amount because I say the amount in the video here, but I can't find it. I think it was, shit, I wish I had saved the tip message. Hold on, let me go back a little bit. We might want to have this amount of RAM because if you're going to be doing that amount of video editing, you might need this amount of RAM, okay? So initially what I wanted to be maybe between $700 to $1,000. By all is said and done, first of all, I can't even tell you what it cost because I can't find the damn receipts. Chris actually, when the PC was done, he mailed me all the receipts to prove that he obviously didn't waste my money, which he didn't. He did not, absolutely not. He was very upfront, transparent with what he did when he built that PC. He sent me all the receipts. It's filed away in literally thousands of documents, and I can't find it right now. But what I did do is that I went on my PayPal to see how much money I sent to him directly through PayPal to build this PC. It ended up that I paid him almost $1,600 to build this PC by the time it was done. Now that's okay. So on September 8th, 2013, I said publicly in a video addressing the negativity, this is in regards to this Mighty Furtado guy constantly going out and saying negative things about me, criticizing me, saying I'm a dinosaur, basically like doing a whole bunch of negative things towards me. And I'm like frustrated at my wit's end. I don't want to have to make this video. I just want to move on with my life and do content. You know, at this point, I've already paid the $1,600 for this, what people would call a lemon PC, where half the RAM didn't work, the door case was cracked, and there were other issues with it too. I just, fuck it. What am I going to do? Why am I going to sit here and keep talking about it? This guy kept talking and wouldn't shut up. He basically became kind of a detractor as a result of the situation, when in reality, he never really disproved the fact that the door was cracked when it showed up, that half the RAM was either misinstalled or didn't work. You know what I'm saying? Like, it had all these issues. So, you know, for him, it was like, I must have said the wrong amount of money. In reality, I don't know what I spent on the PC. I don't have receipts for it anymore. I say in this video, September 8, 2013, $1,600. People in chat are saying, oh, there's other videos in the future where you said $3,000. Maybe I did. Maybe I had a comment on a forum post or something where I said $3,000. You're right. Maybe I'm wrong. But this is the original video where I addressed it. And I said $1,600. Okay? So what information are we going off of here that this becomes some big fucking controversy? I said $1,600 right here, black and white. I said I went through my records, and that's what it said from PayPal, correct? You just all saw it. I didn't make it up. So there it is. Now let's continue with this.
The actual amount a DSP paid for the PC, as shown through Chris's receipt, and a few $100s extra that was sent, was off by a maliciously large margin.
So he's showing $1,200, and I'm saying $1,600. So we're off by that, but keep in mind, I said I checked my PayPal. So that was every transaction towards him from PayPal amounted to around $1,600, probably a little under, right? Maybe there's other things involved there, shipping, I don't know.
So I had actually made my own video defending myself, and I had shown the PayPal receipts of DSP sending the $1,600.
DSP to this day cannot provide evidence or reason why he claimed the PC cost $1,400 more than it actually did.
I have no idea. I showed you the original video where I said it was 1,600. Maybe there was confusion. Maybe I don't know. I literally have no idea. What I can tell you, all I can tell you, because again, this is from like 2013, so this is over 11 years ago. I remember feeling like I really got screwed in this situation. Okay, I went out of my way to build a PC with this guy. I could have went with a reputable company. Okay, let me go full screen for this. I'm gonna talk for just a little bit. I could have easily gone with a reputable company that probably would have charged me around the same. Remember, I said in the video right there, I only wanted to go maybe $700 to $1,000, maybe $1,200. I wasn't expecting to spend $1,600 on this thing. And as I was working with this guy, Mighty Furtado, basically he was like, well, if you want this, you got to spend more. If you want this, you got to spend more. And it just kept adding up, adding up, adding up. By the time that I gave him the money, I was not happy, but I was like, as long as the PC does what it's supposed to do, I guess it's fine in the end, right? I kind of felt like he was kind of leading me along. I get the PC and it's all fucked up. The door has a crack. The fucking half the RAM doesn't work in the PC. And it's like, dude, so not only did I pay this guy way more money than I was expecting or wanted to spend, but now he hosed me. He gave me a PC that's fucked up. So I call him out on it, and he freaks out like I'm a villain for saying facts about the situation, okay? In the original video, I said 1,600. I will guarantee you there will be people who will now say, well, we have all this evidence you said $3,000. Fine. I'm not going to be here to dispute what I said or didn't say because I'm not going to sit here and go through my history of videos. I have no idea why I ever would have said $3,000, whether it was confusion, whether it was me misremembering, because all I can really remember is the emotion behind this situation. And I was just like, at every time that I thought the situation was over, someone would be like, hey, Phil, did you hear the new video Mighty Furtado made about you today, making fun of you again? Did you hear that he's hating on you again? Did you hear? I was like, what the fuck are we still talking about Mighty Furtado for? I bought the website from him, so it's not in his hands anymore. He already hosed me for the PC. Why is this still a discussion? And people just kept bringing it up. The guy like wouldn't shut up about me. So it was an ongoing thing. He was getting internet notoriety for being a hater of mine, and it pissed me off. And I just wanted it to be over, and it kept going on and on. So here we are, ladies and gentlemen, over 11 years later. I have not spoken a word about this man in how long? And in this fucking documentary, it's coming up again. Again. Listen, I don't give a fuck about the PC, all right? I don't give a fuck about it. I don't give a fuck that I got ripped off or whatever. Here's what I want to do. Mighty Furtado, I want you to move the fuck on with your life and leave me the fuck alone, because at this point, this is weird shit. 11 years later, and you're talking about this? Are you out of your mind? Like, what the fuck is going on? I have not mentioned this in so long, I don't even remember the situation to defend myself of why I would have said one thing and another. But you saw the original response I had. I said it was 1,600. It should have ended there. He kept going, and that's why the situation continued, and that's likely why I probably misremembered or exaggerated or whatever the fuck it is. I have absolutely no fucking idea. All right? If you have evidence, and I'm sure people will now have it, then I made it up, or I misremembered, or I lied, whatever it is. Who knows? I don't know, but I don't care either. I don't give a fuck about 11 years ago, this fucking PC. This is 2 PCs ago now, right? Why the fuck do I care about it today? It was a dumb, stupid little thing that was a blip for me, but then became a giant annoying thing as people who didn't like me made it into a giant molehill out of this tiny little, you know what I'm saying? Or excuse me, made it a mountain out of a molehill. That's exactly what it was. Okay. Anyway, let's do some shout outs. We've got Skonkgasm, who says, sometimes a viewer will give you advice or sometimes constructive criticism, and without negative delivery, at times you'll get aggressive. You're right. And that's something that I have to get better at, because sometimes if it's phrased in a way where I feel like it's an attack, or if it is a detractor meme that's been going on recently, I do sometimes get very defensive at it. And that is something that I need to get better at, I feel. And I feel like I have gotten a lot better at that over the years, but I need to continue to improve with that. I agree with you there. Bloom Kid does a super chat. If you ever said $3,000, you lied, so admit it. If I ever said $3,000, I lied. You're right. I see a video at the very beginning of this feud happening where I said 1,600. So that's the evidence I have. So I said 1,600 in a video I just watched. That literally happened at the beginning of this situation. So if ever I said it after 3,000, I guess I've just proved myself that I lied about it after, correct? But originally the video I put out said 1,600. And then the situation continued because he wouldn't shut up. I didn't care. Why would I keep talking about it? He's the one who kept bringing shit up and being a detractor of mine. It wasn't me talking about him, okay? Okay. Cave Teeth to the super chat. Only 1,600. Phil is now Fitler. He's basically saying now compare me to Hitler because of this situation. Yeah, I know. Like this was one of the things, one of the many stupid things over the years that essentially got blown up by my detractors early, because this is the early days. This is 2013, right? It was so dumb and innocuous and stupid and not a big deal. And I just wanted to move on with my life, but people would keep bringing it up. Oh, it's important because you said this. You said, I don't care. I'm fucking playing games. I'm making content. Can you shut the fuck up about the PC? I don't care about it anymore. I don't care about that guy. He doesn't exist to me anymore. I bought the website. I bought the PC. He's out of my life. Why are we still talking? And people would keep bringing it up to annoy me. And that's what it was. They knew that it got my goat, so they kept bringing it up to piss me off. And that's eventually when you get further and further down into the depths of, oh, what did Phil say? Well, maybe I was pissed and I said 3,000, right? There you go. Okay. I received a $20 tip. Just a $20 tip. It's anonymous. Thank you so much, whoever sent that. I really appreciate that. That will get us to $50 out of the 150. That is my goal for the night. And we still have about an hour and a half left on the stream, FYI. So it would be great if you like the content, if you like the fact I am reacting to all of this the way that I am. If you could contribute tonight, that would be very, very good. I would appreciate that very much. I want to keep this king streak going of hitting this tips goal every stream. I've done it 32 straight streams so far. So if we do it, the sooner the better. And then we can continue on positively, right? All right, let's continue.
To make matters even worse, it turns out Chris paid for the shipping out of pocket.
We actually paid.
Okay, well, he's saying that. I can't defend myself there because I have no evidence. I mean, we're talking about PayPal receipts from 12 years ago, so I can't dispute this.
An additional 150 from out of pocket from my side just to ship the computer.
That may have been the last of his direct interactions with Phil, but not with others that post him. A portion of Chris's second video is in defense of Evil AJ, even showing that he was in communication with him. And then there were videos coming out supporting Chris.
Very recently, there's been a lot of videos that have been coming out on YouTube about Darkside Phil, exposing him or whatever. The one that really got me was the one that was made by Chris, of Chris and Teo.
No, there weren't. At this point, there weren't. It was the This Is How You Don't Play videos were the ones that were coming out and getting traction. There wasn't a lot of videos that Phil's been exposed and shit. That's bullshit. Videos like this were getting like a few thousand views. It was This Is How You Don't Play that was blowing up and was getting hundreds of thousands of views. And those were the ones I was worried about. Because what I was worried about was, if people are just going to go watch This Is How You Don't Play instead of my raw gameplay, that means my business is going to suffer. They're not going to watch me put out the videos on my channel. They're going to wait for someone else to make the This Is How You Don't Play, and they're going to get my view and my revenue that I should have earned on my original content, and I never did. That's where my concern was. I didn't give a shit about people making this kind of video.
Who designed Darkside Phil's website for free and built him a computer.
There was a rising community of support, one that was built on the common dislike of Phil. The threads were being intertwined in such a way that new channels making This Is How You Don't Plays would sometimes pay homage to Evil AJ.
Yep, this is totally true. Again, this is all my fault. I will take all of the blame for everything involved with This Is How You Don't Play, okay? Here's why. If I had reacted differently, if I had laughed along with them, if I had maybe even taken advantage and started making my own or having someone, paying someone to make these for me and putting them up on my channel, I could have capitalized on all of this and it would have been a completely different situation. I actually don't even feel that today I would be in a situation where so many people hate me and I have these detractors if I had reacted completely differently to This Is How You Don't Play. But publicly, I will tell you all this, all right? This is a confession. I've already said this before, but I'm going to say it again for the purposes of this react. I, at this point, thought my shit didn't stink. I was of the impression that if I was a successful YouTuber for 5 years, I knew what was good and everyone else didn't know anything. Just because everyone else was going direct capture and live stream didn't mean I had to. I didn't have to follow the trends. I was being a contrarian, right? Everyone says, no, Phil, you're a dinosaur. I'd be like, well, fuck you. Then I'm the dinosaur that'll keep making a good business and you can go fuck yourself. That's what my attitude was. That was 100% the wrong attitude to have. Because even though there were people coming at me in a negative way, saying it in an insulting way, a lot of people just wanted to see me continue to win. And the fact that they saw that my channel was losing views, I was starting to get made fun of by people. People didn't like that. Oh man, he was such a popular guy, and now look, now everyone's laughing at him and shit, right? I didn't listen. I had opportunity to listen. I had opportunity to take constructive criticism and grow. But at this point, my head was so fucking big from being a popular YouTuber, from making the money I was making, and not giving in, not changing to trends, but still doing what I'd done all along and still being successful, that I refused to change for the better. Okay? That's on me. That's absolutely 100% on me. Even when I adopted direct capture and live streaming in 2013, I ignored the stream chat. I refused to talk to people in the chat as if they were there and have a conversation. I was like, you guys are the peanut gallery. You can watch live if you want. I'm going to pretend like this is an offline video. What? What am I, a moron? Yeah, I was. I literally 100% was a fucking moron. I never should have acted like that. That was a gold mine to have that interaction with my live audience, to create new kinds of content, right? And I ignored it all. I streamed without interacting with the audience for 4 years. 4 fucking years. I'm an idiot, you know? But now I know that, because eventually I said, okay, I'll change now. All right? I will, you know, totally listen. And in 2017, I changed, and all of a sudden it was like night and day. My God, my audience is talking to me. We're having a good time. Where people are getting to know the real me instead of the asshole. You know what I mean? And then I changed for the better over the last 7 years to not even think that way. Now I cherish your criticism. I cherish your input and your constructive suggestions. It makes my content way better. But back then in 2012, 2013, I was a big-headed idiot. I literally thought I was top of the world and everyone else sucked. How dare you tell me to improve? How dare you tell me to change? I didn't want to listen to anyone. And that's on me, and that's really one of the core reasons why I had that situation where everyone hated me and I got into a massive decline. That's where really the origin of the detractors came from, okay? But that's different from today. As you'll see, my detractors definitely evolved differently over the years to be something so much more harmful than just a bunch of people making fun of me on the internet with "this is how you don't play," and we'll get to that. The Crunchiest Onion did a super chat. Do you not feel like sometimes a valid criticism has to be insulting because it's a harsh truth? Do you feel you've sometimes confused nice criticism as insults? Of course. Of course. Again, I'm a human, and I make mistakes, and I tend to get heated about certain topics and things. And yes, absolutely. Absolutely, that's possible. But, you know, that's just the kind of guy I am. As you know, if you say something in a certain way, it kind of pisses me off. If you're nice to me, it changes that fact. Look at me with Kino Casino recently. They're nice to me. And look at what happened as a result. As opposed to if originally they were just making fun of me and being dicks to me, none of this last month would have happened, of all this positive content and all this crazy stuff that's been happening, right? I received a $5 tip. Your next PC did cost $3,000. They take the cost, the new PC, they slap it on the Chris PC and cause confusion throughout the years. You have a hypothesis. The detractors did their own hypothesis on the price. I don't know about that. The new PC I bought in 2014. I don't know if anyone was saying that the new PC's cost is the same as the cost of the old one. I don't know. I'm gonna be honest. I think that topic was spent on so long for no fucking reason because it doesn't mean anything. It's just worthless drama that didn't amount to anything, right? But I get why Joon covered it the way he did. But I don't even care at this point. I played the video that showed that originally I said it was 1,600. I told the truth. If I misremembered and lied after that, whatever, I guess that sucks that I did. But originally I said the right thing. So there you have it. I received a $2 tip. If you thought This Is How You Don't Play was going to steal your views, why didn't you make the logical jump to making your own? Because I was a stubborn fool. Because I thought my shit didn't stink. Because I thought I was above criticism. Because I thought that I was the best YouTuber on the planet and all my content was better than everyone else's and no one held a candle to me. And I was grumpy and I was jealous and I was disgruntled about everyone around me was growing and getting all the views and getting the prominence, and I wasn't getting invited to be a featured guest at a convention anymore because everyone wanted to make fun of me rather than actually be having fun with me. I was a really, really miserable wretch. That's why. That's the honest answer. I received a $2 tip from Bio. I've been watching for a long time. Honestly, I've noticed some contradictions in what you've said over the years. Misremembering a PC price from 10 years ago isn't lying. It's a mistake, not a lie. You're fine. No, but they're saying that I misremembered like right away. Like immediately I was saying the wrong price. And again, that wasn't intentional. You know what I'm saying? Like it wasn't intentional to me at all to say the wrong thing. At all. It probably was something that was just, I was angry and I didn't care anymore and I didn't want to talk about it anymore. Soap and Clay to the super chat. You really feel like you owe the computer kid an apology. You didn't give him the opportunity to fix issues before publicly shaming. I actually don't know. I actually don't know what happened if I just immediately publicly said negative things or if I did talk to him behind the scenes about it. I have no idea, nor would I. That was so long ago. There's no way that I would have any emails or receipts or anything. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's convenient for a documentarian to be able to reach out and get the receipts from him because apparently he saved them, right? I didn't save any of that. Again, back when I started on YouTube, there was no track record of this kind of shit, of internet drama that resulted from being a creator. I never thought in my wildest dreams that here we are, 11, 12 years later, and there's a 4-hour documentary being made about me, and now I need to try to defend my shit that I said back then or how I acted. I have no clue. Maybe I was an asshole. Maybe I did publicly take it and complain about it right away instead of going directly to him first. Maybe I did go to him first. I don't know. Nor do I think that, I think we've already wasted like a half an hour on this tiny little thing that's such a, again, it was a blip, a tiny little molehill that was blown into a mountain by people who didn't like me. It didn't mean anything, but it was because of my arrogance, basically. Like, it shouldn't have been what it was, right? I was very arrogant and full of myself back then, okay? Okay, continuing on. I received a $25 tip. I've been watching you for a few years. I honestly think your current content is the best stuff you've ever done. Lean into the good stuff and let the haters get fucked. Thank you so much, anonymous $25 tipper. I appreciate that very, very much. All right. And by the way, following along with the trends of what we're talking about tonight, how I said, back in the day, oh, by the way, the pop-ups aren't working, huh? Because I just did a pop-up and you guys didn't see it, right? Oh, I know why. They're not working because I'm on this screen. Let me go back to this screen. There it is. See, there's the pop. I was wondering. I was on the wrong screen. I told you that previously. It was the trolls and detractors who were trying to wedge themselves between myself and John Rambo, right? They're literally trying to do that right now. I'm not even kidding you. Someone in chat's like, yeah, did you know that PPP's opinion on you has changed and he now hates you? And really? Really? He's on vacation, dude. So what the fuck are you talking about? He's on vacation. He's not making content. But this is what I mean. What they try to do is they try to stir the flames and to try to make shit, drama where it doesn't exist. They're literally trying to do it at this very moment. They're so angry that there's people who I've done content with now and are cool with me. They can't take it at all. So here they are being totally negative. He was here. Dude, PPP was in the chat earlier. And I modded him so that way when he's in here, people can see that it's the real PPP. He's not here now. He was here earlier when I started. So where exactly do you see him turning on me, right? Anyway, let's continue. We've got Bland Polecat did a super chat, and he says, Philly cheese is showing real growth. Thank you to Bland Polecat. I apologize because I missed that one, and I jumped to the Soap and Clay super chat first, okay? Okay. Are we ready? Let's continue. Because already, that was like a half an hour stall for something that was so dumb. Like this right here, I think is way more funny and interesting and pertinent than what we just wasted all that time on.
Like, there are people doing walkthroughs of this game, and they just usually jump up here. And I can't do it at all. Look, I can't fucking jump up here. How are people able to jump up here? Look, I can't jump up here.
Oh my god.
Jump!
Crouch jump.
Jump! You fucking idiot.
Oh, man.
Okay. Whew.
Viewers were quickly realizing that
That wasn't even what you were supposed to do, because then I got stuck and I couldn't make progress. It's supposed to be a crouching jump, which I never learned how to do in the tutorial.
DSP, with his near 4 years on YouTube, had a treasure trove of videos to sift through and inspire compilations or different forms of content. Whether it was Pandalee's abrasive personality and dislike of the Kingdom Hearts series,
I'm here trying to play a fucking game. It's hard to concentrate when a bunch of little immature shits get into a fucking argument with my girlfriend. Fuck you.
a DSP soundboard,
Cock-a-dookie bullshit, mumblefuck nonsense.
or just DSP's giveaways that would sometimes just be empty video game cases.
So to warn everyone, just to show you for full disclosure, no game.
There was so much material dated by his pre-capture card era. Some of these videos were titled DSP Tries It as to try to dominate his own Tries It series on the search results. An additional purpose of these was to create videos that were shorter snippets of DSP rather than the long-form "this is how you don't" plays. Some just criticized DSP's habits outside of games, like DSP Tries It, compulsive hoarding, and being a man-child. A video
What was I thinking of with the empty cases? I was giving away all the collector's edition content of the collector's editions of games. So even though I was giving away an empty game case, I was giving you the art book, the soundtrack, all the collector's packaging and everything. I didn't have the game because I traded it in. Back then, my methodology was buy a whole bunch of games, play through them within a week or two, trade them all in together at GameStop to get almost all my money back, because back then you could do that. If you traded in 3 or more games at a time, you could get like a huge bonus on your trading credit. So even though I was buying an exorbitant amount of games, I actually wasn't spending that much money at the time, you see? But people were lining up in droves to get those cases. I had a forums, and I'm not even kidding you, hundreds upon hundreds of people would post in the forum, and I would use a random number generator to pick. I mean, at one point there was like 1,000 people posting in the forum to get that empty box, because it was from DSP, because it was a bunch of collector's edition content they weren't going to get because they didn't buy the collector's edition, and I would autograph whatever they wanted. So to them, I'm giving them a free piece of memorabilia of their favorite YouTuber, and they loved it. But my detractors spun it as, oh, he just gives away empty game boxes. What they failed to mention is the time I gave away whole games, the time that I gave away a PS4 at the launch of the PlayStation 4, because I wanted to help my community. I thought it would be a nice thing to do. I had an extra one that I wasn't using, so I just gave it away. But they won't mention that. To them, it's never happened. All I did was give away empty game boxes, you know, because that's the narrative they want to spin. Cave Teeth gifted a membership to the community. Congrats to Sofa Ninja on getting it. And I received a $2.51 tip. I find it funny how detractors make fun of people that donate to you, but then they directly benefit from it because you need to support to exist, and they spend so much time watching detractor content. It's a catch-22. Detractors are fans, they just don't realize it. And they, of course, they would never admit it, right? Thank you for the tip.
that covers Phil's newly released 2013 condo tour that shows just how much worse his living space has gotten.
This is what has happened to my condo in the past year. I've gotten so much stuff that my condo just can't look at this. Look at this. Look at this. Look at the floor. Look at this. It's a fucking hideous mess. And I really wish that I had somewhere to put this shit, but I don't.
Tied to this was the curiosity about DSP's expenditures. In 2013 alone, he took at least 4 trips. Every one of them, he paid for at least one additional person, whether it was John Rambo or Pandalee, sometimes both. The reason this was becoming relevant was because of DSP's focus on his decline of views and earnings. His critics could be just as excessive with their own commentary.
Have you been on Darkside Phil's stream when he fucking flips out of people using adblock? About how you're it's like going into his house and robbing him and taking all his shit.
They should find out where he lives and rob him. Like, actually go to his house.
Man, you're taking.
Oh, the ad block, right? Because at the time, they weren't called detractors at this point. I think they were I called them trolls or whatever. They were literally going around saying, just watch Phil's content with the ads off, with ad block on, excuse me. That way, you could still watch him, but he makes no money, right? Now, today, I want you to think about that. Today, if someone said, hey, it's okay to watch everyone's content with ad block on, a lot of people would be like, well, no, actually, it's not. You know, that's kind of messed up. But back then, it was kind of a new thing. And so ad block was a hot piece of contention. It was actually things people talked about all the time. Should you have ads on? Should you not have ads on? Should you be able to make a living on YouTube videos? Is it okay for people to have ad block on when they're watching someone who they know that their living is made on YouTube ads? Keep in mind at this time, okay, during this time period, there was no live streaming. There was no super chats, no memberships, no subscriptions, no tips, none of that. It was just my entire living was made on ad revenue. I didn't even have any sponsorships or product placements. My shit was basically just ads. So if you're watching my content with ad block on, you are taking my livelihood away from me. And I directly talked about it, but I probably shouldn't have, correct? I probably shouldn't have said that at all. I should have just been quiet and never said a word about it and just let people do what they want. Because what happens is when you bring shit up like this, it just makes it bigger. So what happens? More people do it, right? So by me addressing it and bringing it up, immediately more and more people start doing the bad thing that I don't want them to do, and it ends up hurting me. And that's my fault. I'm dumb for having brought it up and acted and addressed it in the way that I did, right?
Making my money. That's just like if you use ad block on one of my videos.
But you know what would be great? You could really teach him a lesson if we went into his house and lynched him.
4chan was also in on this, creating green text that accompanied other memes. As to only help the building tension, DSP set out on attacking other creators whose channels towered over his own.
Holy shit! This is true. This was so bad of me because as I noticed that there started to be a decline and everyone started making fun of me, again, laughing at me instead of with me, I basically became incredibly sensitive and basically started lashing out at others who were doing better than me, saying that I was better than them and shit like that. It was really bad. I would argue that this was a very toxic time of my life where I was saying really dumb shit and being very offended and offensive towards everyone.
Another YouTuber who's not a giant fucking Tobuscus PewDiePie idiot who loves gaming, is doing it for the love of gaming, and he's actually showing up in my fucking related channels.
PewDiePie's channel had over 100 times the subscribers that Phil had, and there was no doubt that they shared viewers. So these comments assured that those viewers would not return to Phil. What's more is that Phil would talk about how big of a fan PewDiePie was of him.
Yeah, that's right. PewDiePie has said he was inspired by me to make videos. He used to watch my content back when he had no money.
No, that he didn't say that. That's a lie. Here's me being stupid, right? No, here's the truth. So, PewDiePie used to leave comments on my videos. I've seen some of the comments. Before PewDiePie ever even uploaded a single video to YouTube to make his own content, he watched my old content and he actually left comments on my videos. I've seen some of them, okay? Then, if you look at some of PewDiePie's early content, he talks about me. In his Heavy Rain playthrough, when the detective is on the wasteland where the first body is and Norman Jayden walks out, he's investigating the body in the wet area, and the first detective walks up who has a goatee, PewDiePie says, oh, he looks like Darkside Phil, right? So 100% it's proven he used to watch me before he even made content, and then he's referencing me in his early content, okay? Does that mean directly that he was inspired by me to make videos? No, okay? The only evidence I could ever say is that I know he watched me at some point and he did reference me in his early content. This is me grossly over-exaggerating that to try to get clout. That's what this is. This is me being incredibly stupid, being dishonest, overly exaggerating the situation to get clout. And it was dumb because eventually, obviously, this kind of behavior was going to blow up in my face, saying dumb shit like this constantly, trying to act like I was bigger or more important than I actually was. Someone tipped me $5, but it got frozen by PayPal. I apologize. This happens from time to time. I can't see your message, so I can't shout it out. I'm sorry about that. Whoever did the $5 tip, PayPal is suspending it for some reason. Okay?
To buy games, he would watch me play the games. That's how he got the idea to make his content.
That's completely false. I have no evidence of that whatsoever. I made all that up.
PewDiePie did in fact like some of DSP's videos back in 2011, though as Phil's barrage continued, PewDiePie would have a change in opinion. As for now, the other leading channel that he was personally at odds with was Tobuscus, who launched his own gaming channel. On top of that, he promoted NCAA Football 2013.
I fucking hated this guy at the time, for a lot of reasons. I'm sure we're going to go into them.
And his video on it was used as an advertisement for the game on YouTube. Phil, displeased with what he perceived as YouTube advertising his competitors, was quick to make a rant on it.
And here's why I'm upset. I'm not upset that he's advertising the game. That's fine. It's even a gaming related ad. I understand why it's on my video. But at the end of the fucking ads, there's a link to his channel.
Phil was thoroughly lambasting entertainers and games that his audience enjoyed. Games that were rising in popularity like Minecraft for its lack of story. This made the rounds so much that even the creator of Minecraft commented on it.
Oh, I actually didn't know that. I had no idea that Notch had said something, or at least I don't think I did then. This is the first I'm actually seeing it in writing, but I have said this to this day. All right? I have said that my comments on Minecraft were some of the biggest examples of me being a misinformed idiot. Saying shit for absolutely no reason, talking out of my ass, all right? And then eating crow for it. Years later, after so many people telling me, Phil, you were wrong. You've got to try Minecraft. It's not just a kid's game. It's not some immature, stupid kiddie thing. You really should check it out. And then I played it, and I loved it. I was like, this game is really good. It's got crafting. It's got survival. It's got adventure. It's got exploration. It's got all these elements to it that are fun and neat and creative. And then when I got it, I was like, I'm a complete idiot because I talked so much shit about this game. And this is just one case. This is old Phil used to do this all the time. Someone would present something to me and I would just blow up and say something completely dumb. And it would come back to bite me because people were like, no, that's not the common opinion. Why are you being a contrarian about everything, right? It was like I was purposely trying to make trouble to get attention. And I regret that tremendously today because today I look back at this kind of shit and I'm like, this is sad that I opened my mouth about shit I was not informed on. And the thing is, I had a lot of people who followed me back then, who listened to me, who believed me, who thought, oh yeah, Minecraft is a kiddie game and shit. It's not. But I was dumb and I talked out of my ass because I thought my shit didn't stink and I was smarter than everybody else. I'm a moron.
Because of DSP's rapid decline, there was inversely a lucrative market to make content criticizing DSP. A group of creators would soon fly a banner that would be seen across various channels.
Here we
the
go.
Kojima World Order, or the KWO, was the unifying group for what was being called troll or detractor channels. The origin of the name came from Phil himself and his criticisms of Kojima.
I'm joining the Kojima World Order as of right now. Everything that Kojima has made is godlike, without question. Kojima World Order. Kojima World Order.
2013 ended far differently than it began. With DSP's views still on decline and a decline in how DSP was viewed, it made for Phil's worst year yet. And in 2014, the detractor videos and memes evolved rapidly. Phil could only add fuel to their fire.
Okay, what is up, everybody?
Oh, here it is. The video everyone loves to laugh at. That I freaking did an unboxing and I didn't unbox the game. Let's see what Joon has to say about this.
Phil here, and welcome to Release Day Unboxing for Tuesday, February 11th, 2014. And before everyone says, what on earth is going on, you probably hear an incredibly annoying, high-pitched, droning sound going on. That is the fire alarm in my condo facility. And the problem is, the fire alarm in this condo facility has a nasty habit of, during the middle of the winter, especially when it's very cold, of going off as a malfunction.
That was from DSP's release date unboxing video. The first 3 minutes, Phil is talking about the ongoing fire alarm. Then he shifts to criticizing prior games. Then to the fire alarm, and then DSP picks up the camera, takes it to the door, and shows he stuffed paper towels in the slits to muffle some of the ongoing alarm. In the entire 14 minutes, DSP failed to open and quote-unquote unbox the game. This screenshot, which included DSP's comment realizing his mistake tied to the title of the video, is what DSP was now known for.
Wow.
Though few videos of his own rarely capture this entertainment from failure in such a way.
What's up, boss? Is it time?
As predictable as Phil was in the gaming space with his commentary, his decisions, especially the financial ones, were seldom predictable. Phil, mid-2014, finally committed to move. Some discernible reasons for a move were mainly tied to having a larger living space allowing for more storage, and would give Phil and Panda Lee their own space as they were seeking to move in together. Common strategies would suggest Phil would either sell or rent his condo, and then...
Before we get into this, I have a shout out to do. But this will be a whole new saga. This will be a good one. Hopefully we can get through this whole saga tonight. I don't know. Because we spent so much time on the stupid PC, it wasted a ton of time. So I received a $5 tip. Someone says, everyone has turned the page, Your Majesty. For everyone to hate on you now, it's just ridiculous. There's no need for you to defend yourself. That was then and this is now. It's clear for all to see you've changed. You're the king, so it will remain. Long live your reign. Yours respectfully, I'm Troublesome. Thank you to I'm Troublesome for a $5 tip. So guys, with that, we're up to $91 in tips. FYI, I'm going to be broadcasting for about another hour tonight. We'll see how far we can get. Again, the goal is 150 by the end of the stream to continue this big streak. I hope that we can continue this big streak of 32 straight streams hitting the goals. Thank you so much for the support. And let's keep it rolling. Let's go into the next saga, the Washington Move saga. Here we go.
Then move in somewhere close by. This would allow easy access to the condo for maintenance. The social elements are as important, like his friends and family that were all living in Bridgeport. With this in mind, what does Phil do?
I got the confirmation over the weekend that we are good to go. We are closing this week. By the end of this week, I will be the owner of a beautiful new townhouse / condo in Washington State. It's probably going to cost me about $7,500. I shit you not, it's that expensive to move across the country.
It cost me way more than that. Way more than that. Because that was what the estimate was. And then when they actually hit me with the bill, it was more. After the move, I was like, what the fuck? And then, of course, I mean, you got to think of other things, like furnishing the house, right? Getting a foothold out here, all what it costs to do that. So it was way more than that.
Phil had decided to move from Connecticut to quite literally across the country to Washington to purchase a condo for $265,000. What's more, for 2013, with Phil's viewership on his main channel, he had made just shy of $100,000 gross, a steep decline from the $170,000 gross in 2012. This indicates continued loss of revenue and pressure to pull back on spending. And even though Phil should have money saved up, he was still petitioning his audience for donations.
Right now, I'll be honest with everyone, the past month to 2 months, April and now May, up to now have been pretty slow. But, you know, I needed a little bit of help in these times when things are slow, okay?
The situation he was revealing was far more dire than initially thought. Phil was technically still in debt as he paid the minimum on his mortgage for his Connecticut condo, and as later revealed, Phil, as he claims, emptied his bank account to finance a move.
That's okay. So yes, I basically emptied my bank account to finance the move. All my savings went to like the down payment on the place and or furnishing this place. I had to pay for the move of all my shit across the country. So basically I had no cash left by the time I moved. Then I racked up a ton of credit cards, which I'm sure is what he's going to talk about next.
Meaning, somehow, the hundreds of thousands of dollars he should have saved were supposedly gone. In addition to this, he began using credit cards to continue his lavish lifestyle that was...
What he doesn't know, or what he doesn't address, all the money I made in my early days of YouTube paid off a lot of debt from my previous life. So it paid off my student loans. It paid off credit card debt from the Evo days that he talked about earlier in this actual documentary. I had a lot of debt that I was dragging around for many years, and when I became a YouTuber, I had to pay all of that off, okay? Basically, by the time that I moved in 2014, I want to argue I had maybe like $30,000 saved in the bank, and the rest of it was, you know, well, no, I spent it all. Like, all my savings were spent on the move across the country, 100%. And then I went into debt, because I had to basically keep paying for shit, so I had to keep racking stuff up on credit cards and shit. And let's see how much he talks about, because I know I've talked about this over the years.
Was far beyond unsupportable. Quote, I'm a successful YouTuber and lots of people dislike me because I am successful and outspoken. I should have signed up here with a different name, but I didn't think that far ahead. I may do so now, unquote. This was Phil in a forum for the mobile game WWE Supercard, which is essentially a collectible card game of sorts with an emphasis on microtransactions themed around the well-known American wrestling organization. Quote, I just got my second in the Hulk Hogan Challenge and spent around $200. For $1,200, I think, you can buy a pack of 1,500 title matches, which is enough to win the event doing straight +5s, unquote. The jargon around the game was hardly interesting to any detractor. What was Phil's knowledge of the cost of items and his spendings of potentially thousands of real-life dollars in a time he supposedly did not have any money to spend. Yet,
I've already fessed up to all of this, okay? I've already fessed up to it. I moved out here And basically, I financed some of the move with my cash. The others, I racked up credit cards. And yes, I got into mobile game. It was WWE Supercard was the first big one. And then the other one was Dragon Ball Z Dokkan Battle. And I spent a ton of money on them like a complete moron. 100% I fess up to that entirely. That is all completely true. Okay?
He was financing Panda Lee's new soap-making business. Phil also renewed the lease.
That is true too. My ex wanted to do something other than just a 9-to-5 job. So she wanted to make soap. And I financed the entire upfront thing. I bought all of the ingredients she needed to make the soap. I bought all the molds. I bought all the chemicals. I bought a printer so she could print all laser printer so she could print all the shit. I bought all the boxes. I did it all. I financed her entire business up front for her to make soap, and that would be her job / hobby. So she would have something to do to make some money and not be bored while I was working all day to pay for the move. That's exactly what happened.
On a BMW that he would drive at most 2,000 miles a year. Evidence of Phil's poor spending had been mounting for some time, but never has it been this overwhelming.
Once my equipment shows up, my new PC, I'm hoping to get to work with higher quality videos for you guys. So next week will be an interesting week to test it, right?
1, 2, 3, or 4 if you include the capture card Phil is using. That's how many capture cards Phil has.
No. It's 3. That extreme cap is the one I used for a whole decade and never bought another one. The other 2 I bought and didn't work. In fact, that one intensity I just tried to use a year ago or earlier this year or last year, and it crashed my PC. The other one didn't even work at all. It was just the wrong card. That box, I don't know what's in there, but if I remember correctly, that was cables. That was HDMI cables. So, no, it wasn't 4 or 5. I did buy 3 capture devices. Only one worked, the extreme cap, and that's the one I used for literally a decade.
He purchased 3 new ones to test them out. The comments discussed the absurdity of Phil's purchases. Quote, lol. So he ordered 1 capture card, changed his mind, and bought another. Then changed his mind again and bought another, all before the first could even be delivered?
I don't remember the specifics. I would think I probably ordered all 3 of them at the same time, but maybe I'm wrong.
You got more money than sense, or your credit card debt is rising. Wouldn't it be worth doing some research before buying them? Dude, you could just figure this stuff out with a Google search. Lol.
No, you can't. That's ridiculous. A Google search is not going to figure out the best option for your business. You do need to kind of mess around with equipment. I wasn't as tech savvy as I wish I was, and I needed to mess around with an external and internal. I needed to mess around with different things, okay?
Unquote. What the comments miss is that Phil also bought a new, pre-built PC from CyberPower within the week of the capture card video, and did the unboxing live, taking his chance to mock the PC Mighty Furtado built for him by stating,
This is how you do ship a PC. We already got a broken piece of plastic. Already a broken piece of plastic. That might be why the top is moving.
Yep. The top, even with this PC shipped that way, it still had things broken on it. To this day, it's still broken. It moved, the whole top moves when you touch it. It doesn't stay in place. It's fucked up. But it still worked. Don't get me wrong. The PC worked. And you know how it was supposed to. It's just the fucking plastic was loose on the front.
It's the post that goes through that holds this in place broke off in shipping.
The price of the PC was $3,000.
Correct.
Here it is in action.
What the hell?
Choppy, look.
The game's choppy as fuck on my new PC. Great.
Yep.
So he didn't know that there was an option to switch from encoding with your CPU and encoding with your GPU. Like, he just didn't know how to use his PC.
Correct. That's absolutely correct. I was inept. I didn't know what the fuck I was doing. I was trying to listen to advice from like people on the internet on how to do shit, you know? And now today what I do, all right, is I capture, direct capture with my, I think it's my CPU, and I stream with my GPU. But back then you couldn't even do that. We're talking about 2014. There was no way to do that. Now in OBS, there's options. You could capture one way, you could stream another way, you could split the processing power to do these things. And that's, I'm literally right now using the same exact PC to capture and stream as in this video right now. It's the same PC. The difference is when I got it, you couldn't do that. So here we go. Mighty Furtado trying to weigh in. Doesn't know what the fuck he's talking about. Okay. At the time, there was no way to do it. Because what happened was my viewers had basically led me to buy this PC, telling me all this different stats about what I needed. What they didn't understand is that I both captured locally to my hard drive and I was live streaming, and it was two separate processes. What a lot of people were doing was just doing the stream, and then the stream archive was the on-demand video. But I didn't want to have pre-stream music in there. I didn't want to have breaks in there. I was streaming like a pre-stream first where I talked to my audience, and then I would play the game. I wanted this to all be separate content. So I was splitting it up by recording locally and also streaming. So think about this. One process to stream, one process to record, one process to play the game. That's why my PC couldn't handle it. And at the time, a lot of people said, yeah, if you actually wanted to do that, you'd have to have two PCs. So, but I didn't have two PCs. I spent $3,000 on one that wasn't good enough to do what I wanted. So, no, it wasn't that, oh, I could have split the processes between the CPU and the G. I couldn't do that at that point. From what my knowledge is later on down the road, OBS, which is open broadcast software, did allow you to do that. And that's how I do it right now. And that's why my situation is much better. Right now, this is a 1080p camera running at 60 frames per second. We're watching a 1080p video running at 60 frames per second. I'm both capturing and streaming this at the same time, and I'm not having any issues because they changed technology over time. But at this time, it just wasn't possible to do what I was looking to do with the one PC. I needed two. I needed one capture streaming PC and one gaming PC. Okay?
Freaking maxed it out. It went to 100%, so I cannot play a PC game on 1080p 60 frames per second and capture and stream at the same time. It doesn't work.
The irony of all this is that Phil later cited Seattle's tech sector as one of the reasons for the move, despite not having any formal education or even general competence in the field. As for the exorbitant spending on equipment, DSP could cite that he was trying to improve the quality of his streams and also deduct the purchases for taxes, but he was ignoring the fact that gaming content was being improved by editing the unnecessary parts out. Phil was still refusing to do this. His cited reason, he was a gamer. Quote, I'm a gamer, not a video editor, entertainer, actor. I like to play games, not edit videos of them. Unquote. His choice of trying to improve the visual quality and not the experience of his streams was turning around to bite him at every angle.
Correct, because if you choose to ignore everything around you, you're never going to remain pertinent, right? And I didn't want to change with the times. I didn't want to roll with the trends. I didn't want to stay up on technology. I literally just wanted to sit here and play games and share that with the world. But I couldn't make a living doing it like that anymore because people didn't want to see that anymore. I really was a dinosaur. It wasn't 2009 anymore. It was 2014, 2015. People wanted more edited content, more scripted content, more other stuff. And I wasn't down for that. I was obstinate. My shit didn't stink in my own head. So because of that, I fell massively behind the curve of everyone else out there as a content creator. 100% Joon is right on the money with this here. Okay?
In November of 2014, a Twitch mod jumped into Phil's streams requesting he lower his bitrate. This is basically asking him to lower the quality. While Phil complied, he was unhappy with the outcome, especially with all the money he invested in improving the visual quality. In an act of defiance, Phil deleted his Twitch account, opting to stream on YouTube where
I didn't delete my Twitch account. I think I deactivated it because I went back to it many years later and I used it again when Twitch upped their bitrate limitations and said, hey, you could do different bit rates and stuff. Okay? But yeah, that absolutely happened. I said I deleted it, but I didn't. I didn't delete it. I deactivated it and I went back to it many years later. Okay.
Where he would not be burdened with Twitch's limitations. This move, that was meant to increase viewership via higher quality streams, actually had Phil lose viewership, as few Twitch native users were loyal enough to migrate. Phil was now going from blunder to
I was not getting only 90 views a video. That's false. That's bullshit. Even today, even on today when I have massively declined, like the least video views I'll get on a gaming video is like maybe 200-300 tops over a little bit of time. On average, my gameplay videos get around 500 views. You know, if it's not a popular game. If it's a popular game, I'll get thousands of views. It depends. But those views were not representative at all of the time. It looks like he captured a moment in time when those videos had just been uploaded and only had a few views.
To blunder, miscalculating, misunderstanding, failing only in ways he could. For example, he allegedly launched a fan art campaign. The participants on Twitter gleefully joined in and shared their art. Only they weren't fans. This contrast, this continued failure was too much to even be documented. There was a nuance to DSP's thought process that was demanding exploration and criticism, especially when, in December of 2014, Phil was playing with the idea of starting a Patreon. But also in December, he was making more vlogs showing his continued poor spending habits that were discourteous even to his parents that Phil set up in a hotel instead of having them stay in the condo.
My parents are visiting for the Christmas week holiday, and they actually took the car. That's right, I let them take the BMW. So yeah, that's a lot of trust, but I trust my parents. They actually are staying at a hotel that's less than 10 minutes away. We got them up, we set them up at room and board. It's a nice hotel.
How is that discourteous to my parents? It was a hotel that was 10 minutes away. That was a really nice hotel room that I paid for. And they didn't have to stay in the one spare bedroom of my house that was really small and not set up to be a bedroom. How is that discourteous? I got them a better accommodation than what it would have been in my house. And I let them drive my BMW around town. He said that was discourteous. Huh? Now that I'm really confused about. If you were going to go visit someone and stay with them for a week, and they had a small spare bedroom that wasn't set up as a bedroom, so you're going to have to sleep on like crappy accommodations, like a inflatable mattress on the floor or something, right? Or if they said, instead of that, I'm going to pay for you to have a suite. You know the suite at a hotel room where it's like the giant room where you have two rooms you walk between and it has all that shit. You know what I mean? A really nice one. I'm going to pay for that for you to stay there instead. And I'm going to give you my BMW to drive around town while you're here. Would you be upset that I said, I'm going to do that for you? Or would you like to just stay in the house that's in a bedroom that's not set up as a bedroom and sleep on the floor? I'm a little confused about that one. That one, I really feel like now we're starting to get nitpicky. My parents loved the fact that we got them the hotel room. You know what I'm saying? Like, it
has a big suite. It's got its own kitchen.
Actively watching DSP, who was streaming around 6 times a week for several hours at a time, was no small feat. What started as laughing at Phil's terrible gameplay had turned into a higher investment into his continuing dramas.
Yes, so here we go. Here's when it goes from literally, okay, Phil is a bad gamer, to Phil is a bad person. So now let's go extreme into his personal shit in his life rather than just deride his gameplay. This is kind of where it starts.
Tumblr tries to capture the drama in 2014. From this magazine that states Phil whines about losing a lot, to Phil's spending and conflict with creators like PewDiePie, who was now in on making fun of Phil. Phil's e-begging, conflicts, forum drama, a list of over 2,000 words. The most shocking fact was that it was still missing a fair amount of Phil's exploits. To capture it all and understand it all for entertainment was a process that loses its entertainment value.
And that's the thing, like, I want you to think about that. So these are the people who become obsessed. Most people are like, I'm happy to just laugh. I'll watch the This Is How You Don't Play and I'll laugh at Phil because he sucks at games, right? And it became a meme, and I reacted badly. But then you get the people who become the hyper-obsessed people who, like, it is now their agenda to memorize everything I've done, what they consider wrong, okay, in a year, and start fucking really getting crazy stalkerish, right?
The majority of people are only interested in the wildest clips of Phil. Then you have those that watch hour-long This Is How You Don't Plays, then those that interact with Phil to try to get a rise from him and seek discussion of him. And then you have an entirely different people, one that tops the spectrum of investment and are not motivated by entertainment, but malice.
The following announcement has been paid for by the
SOK. Hello everyone and welcome to the SOK cast. So if you guys want to introduce yourselves, I'd be more than
What's
happy
going
to.
on, everybody? Fred Fucks again.
And Superior Artist, or Superior Snorez.
This is Renegade Operative here.
Evil AJ 2010 here.
That's okay.
And Carson, right?
Yeah,
Miles.
And we are going to be joined by Loophole572 shortly.
That was his son.
At this point, I might just let this play for a while and I'll absorb it. I have literally heard absolutely none of any of this. I never paid attention to these people. I never listened to the I never paid a moment It was only, I heard things about them, but I just made content and ignored it. So I'm going to be learning along with you. If you didn't know anything about these guys, I don't know anything either. Here we go.
Sons of Kojima podcast. This channel rallied the prominent detractors of DSP. Fred Fox was at the helm, a name chosen through an angry video game nerd video.
Fred Fox?
There are many things that make this channel exceptionally unique. Primarily is that this is a dedicated channel that trumps all others in terms of effort. The members that ebb and flow always had Fred Fox pathing the way, creating multi-hour-long podcasts, and though they put in much effort, they were getting arguably the least amount of traction for their investment. Rarely do detractors get less views than Phil himself, but when it came to the SOK, rarely did any other videos ever outperform Phil. The reason was that they were at the highest tier of investment in terms of Phil. They reached an extremely niche audience in an already superbly niche environment.
Right, if you're going to make a This Is How You Don't Play, right, that's making fun of a playthrough of mine, and it really highlights my shortcomings or whatever, and it's funny to the common person, that's going to work on YouTube. If you're hyper-analyzing each aspect of my life in such scrutiny, to the point where only the most obsessed person would know or care what you're even talking about, you're not going to get traction on YouTube. That's the difference here.
Where the majority of videos were made to laugh at Phil's failures, the Sons of Kojima was trying to interact with Phil and in many ways make his life worse. On the surface, they would promote what they believed was their moral superiority by leading a charity drive that funded the construction of a well in Africa. But they, mostly through Fred Fox's will, attempted to dictate detractor communities beyond their own. They made the rule that detractors cannot monetize their channels and or make profit through Phil as to remain morally superior. Yet they, in the background, would work with others to strike Phil with illegitimate copyright strikes. Fan art played a central role in this campaign.
Yep.
In 2015, the Sons of Kojima ran free, and it's difficult to say how many trolling campaigns they were launching during this time. A time where Phil's views, for now the third year straight in 2015, were on a steep decline. The trolling community was active like never before, and Phil continued to suffer from the ramifications of his terrible financial decisions. Possibly to offset his continued losses, Phil was committed to launching this Patreon. But there was an issue. There was already a Dark Side Phil Patreon. This had many subscription tiers. On the lowest side was $1, or This Is How You Don't Donate tier. On the highest end was the 7 million tier, or the Theft tier. In between these were 15 more tiers, littered with inside jokes making fun of Phil. This parody Patreon, as it reserved the name Dark Side Phil, was sequestered, and in January, Phil launched his Patreon to mediocre success. In February, the number of patrons greatly rose to 74, paying out a total of $1,166. What influenced this surge was Phil redesigning his Patreon to center around milestones that once hit would guarantee the release of a video or a stream around a game.
And now I'll just say this, in retrospect, I bit off way more than I could chew, okay? I should not have approached Patreon in this manner because already I was working 6 to 7 days a week so much, and now I'm taking on even more responsibility to do extra content on top of that to receive more money from Patreon, and I was not equipped to do it, all right? I definitely screwed up and then eventually completely changed the way that my Patreon worked to not be doing these kind of tiered things over the years because I couldn't handle it. But I did. It's my fault. That's like I say today, I don't like to overpromise and underdeliver. I learned that lesson from my Patreon 9 years ago, from fucking it up, all right? So here we go.
Like Minecraft that Phil had a change of heart with. Fans now understood that this was not so much a donation, but a guarantee, held by Patreon's milestone goals and Phil's own words.
But it's not just a way of saying, here, take my money, and thank you. It's a way of investing. You spoke in droves and said, we don't just want pure raw gameplay anymore, we want montages, we want better edited content in addition to the raw gameplay, and we'd like special events. You get what you want.
This had the added benefit of regaining some favor with his audience. He even began releasing edited montages around months or just his own game series. These, by their nature, were meant to compete against This Is How You Don't Plays, or at least capture some of the market. As they failed to compete with them or even just surpassed his raw gameplay videos, he reserved them to a Patreon tier. Also during this time, some videos criticizing DSP were being taken down. While DSP blames these takedowns on machinima acting in their own interest, viewers took it as DSP wanting to suppress the negative attention.
Which wasn't the truth at all. And I've already formally covered this. Last year I did a special event on this channel about my history with machinima, and I showed the receipts. I showed that Machinima, who was my partner network at the time, heard about This Is How You Don't Play and heard about my detractors, and they emailed me and said, Phil, we heard about this. We want to take action on it now. So what we're going to do is we're going to use your channel to issue strikes and things. They screwed it all up. They never should have done it like that, because even they didn't understand the nature of DMCA law. They were issuing these takedowns without the intention of ever suing anyone. They were actually doing it wrong, but they were doing it through my channel, so it made it look like I was the asshole doing it. So now all my detractors are pissed at me. Why are you taking down our videos? I'm literally not doing it at all. I don't have control of this. They're doing it on my behalf, I guess, and it's kind of messed up. So after doing that for a few months, like, they tried to take down a whole bunch of videos, right? And what happened is all the people just disputed those claims, and so they all got reinstated. All those videos within like 2-3 weeks got reinstated on YouTube. And I said to Machinima, you realize now you made me look like the villain because you did all this in my name, and now people think I personally did it to them, even though I didn't. And now all the videos are back anyway. So now everyone hates me, and the videos are still live. So then what Machinima claimed they did, they claimed they went through the content ID system, and they claimed my detractors' videos. But they never once explained to me how much money it made, nor did they ever give me a breakdown of the payout for it. So I don't even know if they ever paid me a single penny for it. They might not have. They might have actually content ID claimed a bunch of my detractors' content, and This Is How You Don't Plays, and pocketed the money and never said a word to me, because I have no evidence that they ever paid me for it. So now everyone hates me in 2015, saying, hey, Phil copyright striked all our videos, when I literally did not. Okay? I literally did not. And now everyone hates me. All my detractors are after me because of this. Okay?
As these
and I have evidence. I have the emails. I showed the receipts last year.
takedowns happened in March, the channels willing to fight the claims were reinstated in April. But when they were reinstated, they were immediately claimed, meaning that they could remain up, but all the money would go to Machinima.
There you go.
This same month, DSP released a video of him performing various actions in front of a green screen. It only took one day for a scathing video that utilized the green screen footage to be released.
I knew that they would do that, though. Like, I did this because I wanted to have a green screen video up so fans could make shit, but I very well knew all my detractors were going to do it too. I didn't care.
This included reference to Phil's decline in views, his alcoholism, and the copyright strikes applied to detractor channels. Additionally, Phil's diet of fast foods was coming back at him in full force. After all, current day, there is at least 17.5 hours of footage of Phil consuming fast foods or foods of similar quality.
Yep. My foot is incredibly swollen. You cannot... Oh, the gout saga. The gout saga. I didn't know he was going to put this in here, but okay. Tell from what I wanted to show you there. It's about, I'd say about 1.5 times the chubbiness of my other foot. So after doing a bunch of research online and after what everyone's been telling me, it sounds to me like I might have gout.
Gout, or historically known as the disease of kings, is...
The what? The disease of kings? Hold on a second. King Phil... King Phil has the king's disease? It's pretty funny now. It's pretty ironic now that that's what it's called, because now everything that's happened in the last month, the memes and everything about me being a king, right? But back then, it was just like, you know, fuck. I got this really painful thing going on, right? So guys, just so you know, we're going to go about another half hour tonight, okay? It looks like if we go another half hour, we may get to the point I wanted to get to in the documentary, which is good. However, as you guys can see, we did not hit our tips goal yet. Now would be the time, if you want to see the streak continue, to support the stream in some way. Right now, we're at 300 likes with over 1,100 viewers. If you like the stream, you enjoy the react, please hit like. The engagement is helping this channel a ton. Consider contributing in some way, whether it be a super chat or a membership, but really, it's that tips goal that I'm aiming for tonight. So if you could contribute to hit that right away, that would be great, and then we could just move on. All right? Thank you so much.
Caused from a diet abundant of alcohol and red meats. This news spread quickly.
He has gout? How does he have gout?
Gout, copyright strikes, continued loss of viewerships, and the rise of the Sons of Kojima were only the start of Phil's difficulties for 2015. His financial situation had gotten to the point that he was selling his statues that he could not accurately declare the quality of.
Yep. The back of the box, as you can see, very durable. When it moved, it even got a little nick in it, but it did absolutely no damage to anything inside because it has lots of styrofoam inside. His comb has damage. Gotta call that out.
As poor as Phil was with communication, there was one instance that him reaching out very well saved his life.
They all have these super... Yep. Uh-oh. Hold on. Hold on, everyone.
Here it is.
I might have some cops outside. Hold on. 2015, this happened when I was playing Batman Arkham City.
In the afternoon of June 24, 2015, someone called Phil's local police department claiming they had shot their parents and had a hostage. This was a swatting and the police had to respond. Luckily, Phil had called ahead in fears that something like this would happen. Due to that, and because the caller did not identify themselves, they went in with the expectation that they were possibly not in danger. If not for these circumstances, this visit could have ended far worse.
Yep. Shame on you if you've ever made a "this is how you don't play" about me, if you ever decided to follow me, make a clone account on Twitter, do this childish shit on YouTube, if you thought it was funny to dox me, if you thought it was the DDoS attacks were funny, you almost got me killed. You. Yes, you.
This shifting of blame and unjustly targeting the detractor community as a whole for the deranged acts of one person further soured relations with the detractors, yet gained a bit of sympathy for those that were not in this vortex.
So, to look at it now, of course, I don't think that "this is how you don't play" has created that situation, but it's sad that what happens is you get the obsessive people, correct? It's like I said when I did the react to the Rich documentary on this channel with the guys from Kino Casino last month. I said, please understand that even though we're about to make fun of Rich, this is not us condoning and telling people to go out there and attack this man. This is not us saying, hey, go harass him, go do horrible things to him. We're going to make fun of him, but we're not going to say hurt him, okay? There's too many people on this planet that don't have that level of intelligence. They think that because you're making fun of someone, that you should hurt them, that they are like a villain or Satan or the devil, and the world is good and bad, black and white, heroes and villains, you know, evil and justice, and they don't understand that it's going to the extreme. It's like even on places like KiwiFarms.com, you know, Josh Moon, who I just spoke with a couple weeks ago, the philosophy there is you don't mess with these people who you don't like. You can make fun of them, but if you actually interject yourselves into their lives to hurt them, you are a bigger lolcow than they are, right? And that's the problem, is this person, whoever this nut job was, okay, who did this swatting, essentially was a crazy person who listened to "this is how you don't play," who listened to my detractors, who listened to everyone making fun of me and said, well, I'm gonna ruin his life today. I don't really care. I'll just do it. Here we go. And that's the extreme. So here's me, you know, I'm so emotionally upset at what happened. The fact that I could have died that day, that I'm lashing out at the internet saying shame on you for all the shit that you've done to me now, because it's all led to this extreme moment of messed up shit, right? To some extent, that's true. But do I really think that the people who were making "this is how you don't play" montages about my gameplay wanted me to get swatted? Of course not. It's just sad. It's a slippery slope with the internet that there are people who are this messed up who will do fucked up things because they don't understand the difference between a joke and messing with someone and making fun of them, or actually wishing them physical harm and pain. And that's what happened on that day. You know, I lost my cool because, yeah, I felt like all those people were being irresponsible with the power they had on the internet, not realizing that the actions they were taking were actually leading to people hate me so much that they wanted to kill me.
Phil was frustrated not just at the detractors, but also the fact that the media was not picking up on the story, meaning that this message that the detractors as a whole were at fault was contained to his own platform. Little did Phil know there was more negative attention on him than ever before. His streams, tweets, forums, Patreon were all being monitored and archived. The following month, Phil on his own forums equated using the chat function on his live streams but not donating as loitering, but it's okay because he's lenient. As much as he claims to be, his audience from both sides were not convinced.
That's absolutely ludicrous. That's probably me just being really angry at someone and being an asshole. That's absolutely ludicrous. Oh, it's not loitering. It's the only time that I will get upset is, let's say, for example, right now, we're doing a stream on this documentary, right? And you guys have been talking all night. You're on topic. Imagine if someone comes in here and all of a sudden a whole bunch of people start talking about college basketball. And now the entire chat room is college basketball. You derailed the stream. It's off topic. You're not supposed to do that. That's like going into a place of business, not spending any money while you're in there, but just standing around walking, taking up all the space, doing shit that's unrelated to the business, right? It's not allowed. It's called loitering. But no, you can come in here as long as you're respectful and you follow the rules and you're not derailing. Anyone's welcome in my chat. This is just me being really pissed off right here about dumb shit. You know, me being unhinged at the swatting and everything. It made me lose my cool and say dumb shit like this.
Especially with the troubles on his Patreon. A new milestone goal at $1,250 was Project 7.
I knew this was coming. So here we go. Let's tackle the Patreon thing.
Rebirth. Quote, if this goal is reached, I will take away at least 2 days, if not 1 to 2 full days in August to write, record, and work on the renewal of Project 7, with the hope that I'll at least have something to show for it by the end of the month. Unquote. In no way, other than to drive Patreon donations, does this goal make sense. The original Project 7 was a failure by all aspects, and now Phil was here offering to relaunch the series with just 2 days of work. Likely due to this, viewers were asking John Rambo if he was playing a part in it. Coincidentally, John Rambo on his own channel released a skit perhaps related to the news.
Hi, my name is John.
Well, I'll be honest, it's a little disingenuous because he's not talking about the fact that we were supposed to be doing content. The moment that I moved out here, we were going to continue doing our wrestling podcast. We were going to continue to do gameplay over the internet. And basically, we didn't do any of it because John kept backing out and saying he was too busy. I didn't understand that he had that resentment towards me that was revealed later on in that video that we've already gone over. But, you know, he's just saying, like, this just happened out of the blue. No, it didn't. Like, John was already kind of ghosting me and dodging me on working together and doing future projects and things. Already the friendship had unraveled by the time that this came out.
And I'm special because I upload videos to the internet. But being so important does have its dark side. In fact, it means that my life is much more difficult than everyone else's. This is why I've opened a Pay Me Tons account. It's an internet website that allows people like me to receive lots of creativity from people like you. Simply log in and transfer the entirety of your bank account into my Pay Me Tons account. I won't even get out of bed for less than $50.
With Phil's relation with John Rambo in disarray and no feasible way to relaunch Project 7, in August he announced the project would not be coming to fruition and would be replaced by another goal.
Actually, that's not what happened at all. But I'll tell you in a second. So Bloom get to the super chat. He says, how about them Celtics? Thank you so much. And Captain Base Pants to the super chat. NFL starts on Thursday. Let's go Bills. There you go. Thank you, Captain Base Pants. Also, I received a tip. I want to shout all this out before we continue, because this is not what it was supposed to be at all. Okay. I received a $20 tip. Hail to the King from Anonymous. Thank you for an anonymous $20 tipper. I appreciate that very, very much. Because we are very close to the goal right now, guys. Very close to continue the King's streak. We're at 111, guys. That's what, 39 away? Let's crush it. Let's hit it. Let's continue to keep the streak alive. All right? Now, the true story of what's going on here is that Patreon goal was not Project 7 involving everyone else, and it's the old that series. It was the previous series, because what Joon didn't cover is that Project 7 originally was a little rinky-dink video series I had done in like 2009 or 2010. It was not that overblown edited series that you saw there. That was the reimagining of the series, working with that group Respect the Pack to make a creative piece of work that was different and completely, you know, of a different level. The original series was basically that I was stuck in my condo and this character named Deathface, who you can actually see dancing on screen right here with the $10 tip animation. Okay, that's Deathface. That this guy had kidnapped me and caught me in my condo and wouldn't allow me to leave until I played one of my most hated games of all time, the original version of Final Fantasy VII on the PlayStation 1. And it was going to be an ongoing series where I do an edited, abbreviated Let's Play with skits and shit in it, going between me and this Deathface character, and basically ragging on the game, but also doing funny things that were outside of the comfort zone of just doing raw gameplay. So that was the original idea back then. Exactly, I got jigsawed. It was like Jigsaw capturing me and forcing me to play this game I don't want to play to save my own life, okay? So the series changed in 2012 when we did our version of Project 7. The Patreon goal was supposed to be I revived the original idea So I sit down and offline, I'm playing Final Fantasy VII, and I'm doing edited videos and shit like that, okay? That's what it was supposed to be. Had nothing to do with John, had nothing to do with Howard, had nothing to do with Respect the Pack whatsoever. But what happened was I 100% overextended myself. And that month I was so busy doing other things, I just didn't have time to get around to it, yet I had already accepted an additional, I think it was an additional $250 to do it, because I had tiered rewards. And I think the reward below was like $1,500, and then that one was like $1,750, or it could have been $1,250, $1,750. Anyway, it was hundreds of dollars that supposedly I had accepted in order to reboot this series. I told everyone, listen, my time is so pulled, tight right now. We could do two things. Either we cancel the whole thing and we'll have to think of something else, or I could do a trailer for Project 7. That's just a short video clip. You tell me if you like it. If you like it, great, we'll continue. If not, forget it. We'll cancel the whole thing and we can move on and do different goals next month. And my viewers, I'm not kidding you, said, we don't care about this Project 7. This was you coming up with this idea because you wanted a Patreon goal, but we don't care about it. So don't do it. Like, literally don't do it. We think that it's going to be boring. We'd rather see you play games and do other projects and other things. So I said, okay, we won't do it. Let's cancel the whole thing. So we did, and then I had another goal in place of it. Well, there was 2 people who were upset that were longtime fans. One forgave me, one did not. One literally said, I'm never going to deal with you ever again, okay? I'm never going to do it ever again because, FYI, I really wanted Project 7 and you overpromised and underdelivered. And I said, you know what? Fair enough. If we never speak again, I accept it. It was my failure. I overpromised and I underdelivered. That's on me, okay? Funny enough, years later, that person did come back and was a fan of my content again. But that was it. There was no controversy. There was no giant weird thing going on where people hated me for this. It was only my detractors that made a big deal out of it. Because keep in mind, it was only like a few $100s that was raised for the goal. So to see me do another thing, which I did, I think I did a different project, a different game or something in place of it. Everyone was fine with that. There was no big controversy in my community and viewers. It was only outside that these people would take this nugget of truth. Oh, Phil didn't reboot Project 7 like he promised and turn it into something full blown like, oh, he's a liar. He doesn't come through on his promises. He stole and pocketed money. He scammed his audience. It literally didn't happen. Okay. But they'll never admit that because they all talked about it for so long. Like it was a big deal. They just fucking, blew it up. And now they all believe it. They all literally believe I scammed my viewers for Project 7 when it never happened. Okay? I got a $5 tip. Very interesting hearing your story and growth. I'm originally from Seattle. Very nice. Thank you for that. Thank you for the $5 tip. Let's continue while I put that on the leaderboard.
Similarly, his Alan Wake montage that the patrons voted for would also be canceled after a single episode.
Oh, good. The power went out. I'm not even kidding you.
Almost as if it was retaliatory, fan art that Phil used in his videos was being used to illegitimately strike his channels. To avoid further strikes, he deleted the videos that included the art, which amounted to 600 videos off his channel. This amounted to around 4 million views removed, and on Social Blade it showed that for the month of August, he netted a total of negative 1.37 million views. That's why in November, he insisted that through a strange, unverifiable string of events, that this deletion of views was causing a drop-off in his channel. In this near 44-minute, long-winded video, Phil recounts to his audience that it was Machinima that instructed him to delete those 600 videos that caused a small dent in his total viewership, but does not provide evidence of Machinima doing so because he claims he was instructed via a conference call.
That's correct. It was a conference call. Machinima was on the call with YouTube, literally got off the call, got back on the line with me and said, delete the videos now because if you don't, they're all going to get stricken. They said that there's a ton of fake strikes in the pipeline. And if you don't delete the videos, you will get stricken down and your channel will be removed from YouTube. So I had to delete 600 videos, all of which had tons of views, 40 million views or something like that, deleted from my channel, showing that I had negative views that month. And it literally kicked my YouTube channel out of the YouTube algorithm, meaning if you searched for me, you couldn't find me anymore. You would only find my detractors' content, and it hurt my channel just went way down after that.
Then he claims an anonymous insider told Phil that this subtraction of views brought him down in the invisible total rankings, and that YouTube was still using that archaic system of promoting videos via their channel's total accumulated views. The only thing is...
No, that's not true at all. What happens is if YouTube sees that you have deleted several like videos, or if your channel has a huge deletion of views, it sees that as something very negative happen, and the algorithm will no longer favor you. Keep in mind, up until 2015, the algorithm favored DSP gaming because for 5 straight years, I had been putting out so much content and getting so many views a month that my channel was at the height and forefront of gaming. Even though I wasn't nearly as popular as I once was, if there was a new game coming out and I played it at release day, I would be in the top search pages for new game releases, okay? After this happened, after I deleted all those videos, I no longer showed up in search results for big game releases ever again. I was gone. I was erased from the YouTube algorithm because of this change of deleting all these videos. It has nothing to do with overall views. It has to do with YouTube seeing you delete shit. Then the algorithm says, oh, something was wrong, right? Like the channel had bad content and had to be removed or whatever, and the channel was punished. Now, funny enough, okay, YouTube didn't mention this to Machinima. When YouTube told Machinima, tell Phil to delete his videos, they didn't say that. We only found this all out after the fact, months later, when my channel was no longer getting as many views as it used to. It was way declined, and I wasn't getting any view boosts in the fall, when notably I used to get giant spikes in viewership for new games. I just stayed plateaued and declining. So I used to go like this in the fall, and instead I went like this. Only after I deleted the videos, so obviously there's a correlation there.
That all existing evidence works against him. The strongest evidence is in his social blade. Contrary to what he is stating, he has had far worse drop-offs in views. And actually, late 2015 were the most stable than they'd ever been. For November of 2011, he was losing over 1 million viewers on a daily basis.
That's
Yet
true.
now, in late 2015, he was worried about a small fluctuation of around 200,000 viewers. What's more, the deleted views against Phil's total views would have been so insignificant, it would have no effect on his channel. Then again, there is a benefit in—
That's wrong. My point I was making is, in the fall, and you could see it on Social Blade, every fall, when the new games came out and I was playing all the hot new releases, I would get a spike in views. After these false copyright strikes hit and I deleted all those videos, I never received a spike of views like that ever again. Why? Because YouTube wasn't promoting my channel for new releases anymore. I wasn't in the algorithm. The evidence is there if you actually look at the right parts of Social Blade.
in framing this natural downward trend as an emergency.
But when this shit happens with YouTube and I have no control over it, I need your help. And if you really want to help, Patreon's the way. $1 a month.
This hardly helped his Patreon that was already being scrutinized due to his unfulfilling of initial goals, and more than just his patrons were distrusting of Phil. On Thanksgiving 2015, Phil uploaded an Ask the King episode where he answered fan questions. Fans seeking an update on John Rambo asked Phil where he stood with him.
I hope that people don't take this the wrong way, but in life, if you have something that you want to say, or you have an issue with someone, all right, say it, bring it up, hash it out. If something happens and you don't bring it up and you let resentment build up, that's when relationships get ruined, right?
Fans unsated with Phil's answer, like with the relaunch of Project 7, were reaching out to John Rambo on Thanksgiving to ask how he felt about Phil.
I want you to think about this. Fans were reaching out. Oh, you mean call me beggar? It's not my fans. It wasn't my fans reaching out to John Rambo. It was my detractors. Just like it was my trolls who were telling John Rambo during Project 7 that I was taking credit away from him by saying things like I did in that video previously tonight. It was always the trolls. It was always the detractors. They were the ones wedging themselves into the relationship, causing resentment, causing stress and problems, and harassing John into saying, I don't want to have anything to do with Phil anymore because look at all the stress that it's caused me.
2 days later, on November 28th, they, including Phil, were given their answer.
Hello.
Here it is. Here's the video.
I'm John, and I'm joined by Howard.
This was the same podcast that was used earlier in this video that talked about the production of Project 7. John Rambo decided to upload this to a separate channel and then deleted it about a day after. Then it was re-uploaded in perpetuity by channels archiving the material. And
yeah, you have to wonder, when he uploaded it, right? He uploaded it, but maybe he felt bad that he had uploaded it after retrospect, especially because he probably saw a troll. It basically gave the trolls exactly what they wanted. And I'm not sure that's what he was going for. I think maybe he was trying to just put something out there to get his emotions out of how he felt about our relationship over the years. But it fed into what the trolls wanted. So I think he thought, oh, maybe if I delete it quick, it'll go away. But no, that's just the problem with the internet. When something's out there on the internet once, it's out there forever. So immediately it was re-uploaded here and here and here. Every one of my detractors re-uploaded this fucking thing, and it was just there forever.
And so in permanence was this about hour-and-a-half podcast of evidence where John Rambo details his falling out with Phil. From Phil unfollowing him on Twitter, to Phil drunkenly messaging him late at night while watching their Let's Plays and not calling him even though John Rambo said he preferred that over text. It was all this, plus other minute issues like merchandise both parties invested in, Phil's susceptibility to trolling, his self-destructive tendencies, and other private elements that caused this falling out. At the end, John Rambo offers an olive branch by stating that a phone call could fix this. But Phil never did call. And so Phil lost touch with the last friend he had. Not even a month later, now closing 2015, Machinima informed.
And by the way, he was not the last friend I had. That's ridiculous. It's just, that's way over dramatic. I still had friends, just not friends like John Rambo who were public friends on YouTube. That's absolutely ridiculous. And by the way, if you want the full story, okay, from both perspectives, a couple years ago, I reacted fully to that hour-and-a-half podcast that John and Howard had released over on my DSP gaming channel. You can search for it there. It's like DSPReacts to the John and Howard video. And you will find the full story of that over there, okay, in detail. I basically play the entire thing and I react to the entirety of the thing so that, you know, you'll get my full reaction because he actually didn't even cover the whole thing. So obviously you're not going to get the true story, both sides of the story there. You're only going to get what he played there. Okay.
Phil that they will no longer honor the $2 CPM contract and would instead swap to paying him with the raw ads, which would further decrease his earning potential. Everything appeared to be working against him, and the idea that was meant to breathe life into his channel did not come. What did come was something else.
Oh, here we go. So this is where we're going to end it for tonight. I said the incident would be a perfect place to end it for tonight. So let's do the incident, and then that's probably where we will end it for tonight, okay? So by the way, last chance if you want to support the stream. It looks like the King streak may end tonight because this is it. This is the finale of the stream for tonight, guys, okay? What is up, everyone? Hello, hello, and welcome. Oh, the camera's on. The camera's been on the whole time, huh?
Phil attempted to dismiss what he was doing by saying he was doing quote-unquote various stuff, like scratching his leg.
That's right.
The bombardment of memes and other media would not allow Phil to dismiss this so easily. It was already clear that he was pleasuring himself on stream and forgot to turn the camera off. Keemstar, the owner of Drama Alert, a trending drama channel at the time, quickly picked up the story. It was then that Phil came clean and admitted to what he was doing. After Drama Alert and the internet as a whole spread the news, Darkside Phil would be known, above all else, for this. A new nickname was passed around as DSP would be known as The Guy.
You didn't even know the camera was on.
Every inch of my dick and balls, right?
Because in theoretical conversation, when one introduces the subject of Darkside Phil, the other participant would respond with, "Is that the guy that pleasured himself on stream?" Phil handled this remarkably well, making jokes about it and accepting his new identity in stride.
You're absolutely right. That's what I'm known for.
You got exposed for doing that.
I got completely exposed.
His partners and Machinima were not so enthused, and sought to take down any re-upload they could find of the event. Whatever goodwill Phil had gained through the acceptance of this recent event was quickly lost.
And I did not tell them to do that at all. They did it on their own, and I actually, they came out to me, like they wrote me, and I literally responded to them saying, no, do not do anything. Like, I'm cool with it. I don't need any help. Everything's fine. And apparently they went behind my back and they did shit to people who were actually like talking about it or showing it on their streams and shit. That was not me. That was Machinima. And again, if you want the receipts on that, last year on this very channel, I did a whole event about it and I showed all the receipts. They wrote me saying they wanted to take action for it. It had nothing to do with me. I told them, no, don't do it. I even showed that on stream. So if you want the receipts for that, you could find that already on the channel in the separate event from last year. Okay. We got a couple of shout outs. I got a $2 tip. Only Ice Infinite name one friend besides John Rambo. What do you mean? At that time? Well, first of all, I was living with my girlfriend, right? So that was a friend. I still had many friends from back home who I talked to, and like old school friends from Street Fighter and shit like that I still had contact with. I had the Airy Lord and Coruchado, who I did co-op with online. I had other people like Brian at the time, I think, that I was playing Street Fighter with. There were tons of people. And that's just a few off the top of my head. So nice try, but you're wrong. I received a $10 tip. It's just a $10 tip. Anonymous $10 tip. Thank you so very much. Go to the anonymous $10 tipper. Appreciate that. Thank you. Purple Pickle Yum Yum for a super chat who says, "It's the guy. You're the guy." Yes, that was the meme. That was the meme for a very long time, right? It really was. And thankfully, I reacted to it the way that I did. Because I do feel like if I didn't, that would have been the end of me. Like, that would have been the end of Darkside Phil. No one would have ever wanted to see content from him ever again. Just laugh at him. But because I handled it the way I did, I was able to persevere and continue, thankfully. Okay? I received a $35 tip from Ponage 101. He says, "You can say the king streak will continue, which it will. I want to see it as an ongoing train of positivity. It is official." With that, $35 tip from Ponage 101, which actually is our biggest tip of the night. Despite my amazing self-embarrassment and felting in this very moment that was on the screen, it is official. The king streak continues at 33 tonight, which means it is time to make it rain. Thank you all so very much yet again for joining me here tonight as I go through this very embarrassing history of mine. All right, it's not easy to go through and now start to see the really stupid negative shit that I was doing, and the awful things that I said and did, and the mistakes that I made. I appreciate you all for supporting the king and filling the coffers and keeping the momentum going and keeping the positivity going. You guys are absolutely awesome. I really appreciate it. Are you kidding? Guess what? I just received another $26 tip from Alpha Anon. The streak must live on. Thank you to Alpha Anon. The streak does live on. And now we've exceeded the streak. So thank you so very much. I want to go to this screen because I can actually play the animation on this screen. It's not set up to work on the other screen on this channel. So thank you, Alpha Anon, for an incredibly generous tip as well. Ponage is the top tipper, but Alpha Anon also with 26 bucks, which gets us up to 177, right? I got to put Ponage as 35. I got to give him the credit for his very generous contribution tonight. All right. I think we should go a little further. I can't go too much later, guys, but I want to go a little further. I was hoping to get one more segment into this. So let's go.
In this single post on his forums, he insults 3 different creators who have audiences larger than his.
Because I'm a genius, right? Because I'm a complete genius. No, I'm basically, all right, at this point in my life, just to tell you a little bit about the incident. Do you want to know the truth of the incident? I'll tell you right now. The incident happened because behind the scenes, my life was falling apart. So my channel now is on a big decline of views constantly. I'm not making nearly as much money as I used to financially because of my decline already, and then the trolls hitting me with those false copyright strikes. So my money is declining massively. I'm trying to find ways to recover from it. None of them are really working. On top of all of that, all right, my relationship with my girlfriend fell apart. We basically stopped really being romantic. It was more like 2 people living as roommates rather than like in a romantic relationship. Hence, this is why that happened. Like, I saw my time in this office with the door closed, shut off from her being somewhere else in the house as my only private time away from her, right? So that was the time for me to do things like that, to have a release before I streamed for the day, to relieve stress. Because outside, it was like stress, stress, stress when I was over there because we weren't getting along. Stress, stress, stress when I'm in here because I'm not making enough money. My detractors are shitting on me constantly. So, you know, that was really me, sadly, doing something incredibly stupid, all right? And obviously, it never should have happened. But that was like me saying, I was depressed. I was drinking very heavily, you know, at that point. And things were falling apart in my private life, my public life, everywhere. And that was like the lowest low for me. And when it happened, I was like, let me put it this way. Like, so many things were already going wrong that I was like, you know, it's ironic. It's just the next thing. So fuck this. You know, like, who cares? It's not even a big deal to me. And so I could have reacted very poorly. I got some really good advice from one particular person, and that person knows who they are. And they said, even with everything going wrong in your life right now, just let it roll off your back. Like, you know, like water on a duck, right? Just play it off like nothing. Roll with the memes, roll with the jokes, tweet at Drama Alert and joke about it. Make it publicly known. So I did. And because I did that, I saved my fucking career. Because if I had reacted poorly to that, that literally would have been the end of me on the internet. I believe that firmly, okay? But everyone wants to laugh about it and think it's a funny moment. It is funny if you don't know the context. The context is very depressing. Like, my life was falling apart in every aspect. And that was just another thing to pile on the dog pile of shit that was going poorly. So even though I reacted well there, now here we go. I'm upset and I'm fucking insulting people left, right, up, down constantly. I'm constantly being goaded by people to say things about other creators and shit. And it just blew up where everyone hated me. Okay?
He calls Total Biscuit's reviews overanalyzing, calls Jim Sterling's reviews that fool you into thinking they're intelligent with fancy wording, and Angry Joe's reviews bloated with skits and cosplay for kiddies to retain attention. The cherry on top was the purpose of this post was to represent his own views.
All right, do you want to know the absolute truth? Are you ready for this one, folks? Do you want to know how bad and hypocritical I was? Because I'm going to fess up to it right now. I swear to God, this is God's honest truth. I have never seen a piece of content from Total Biscuit or Jim Sterling. And I said those things. I have literally never watched a piece of content from either of those creators. I will fess up to that right now with all of you. I was just talking out of my ass, insulting people for no reason. Because I just felt miserable and I wanted to lash out at the world. I did see Angry Joe's stuff. And some of Angry Joe's stuff is quite good. And some isn't that good in my opinion. But that's just my opinion. But out of those 3 people that I just crapped on, I literally only saw one of them ever, and I just shat on them anyway. Again, the same pattern of me shitting on Minecraft and all this shit, it continued. The bad behavior was continuing over these years of me being this really just curmudgeoned, salty, really upset, jealous asshole. All right? Can you imagine saying shit like that? When you fucking never even saw a piece of their content? Like, why did I do that? I don't even know. I was just a piece of shit.
As superior. Quote, or if you actually want an honest review from an honest guy who's played video games all his life, has a huge wealth of experience/knowledge to draw upon, and doesn't have any bias towards anything, you can watch my review. Unquote.
Right.
Persisting on this path of self-destruction, the following month, Phil made an Instagram.
This I remember. I basically took a stab at PewDiePie, and he gave me the stupidest response, and I was like so confused. So let's see.
Post calling PewDiePie's new buck meaningless for brain-dead idiots. This produced a response from PewDiePie, who simply responded with, quote, DSP upset he can't read.
That was literally his response. DSP is upset he can't read. I mean, honestly, I don't even know why he responded, right? Like, I'm so beneath PewDiePie. I have no clue why he even responded to my incredibly mean-spirited, salty, post about him. I wouldn't have. I would have been like, this person's beneath me. They're obviously, you know, have a grudge. So fuck this person. They're not worth my time, right? But he responded in the weirdest response ever. I'm upset I can't read. It's not even like oh, based, oh, he razzed him. It's like, huh? Like, who would even say something like that? Like, I'm illiterate? I'm not okay, sure.
Unquote. The source of Phil's frustration was his continued bleeding of views. He was jealous. And over several posts on his forums, relentlessly defended the idea that not editing his Let's Plays is what made him popular, while simultaneously furious at being disadvantaged, stating that the only barrier between him and hiring an editor is money. There was something different in Phil going on here. A panic, a lashing out, a misrepresentation of the truth.
Correct.
Not
he is nailing it on the head right here. He is 100% nailing the situation on the head as hard as you possibly can. That is exactly what was going on in my life. My business was falling apart, my personal life was falling apart, and I was changing for the worse.
Trick his viewership, but to try to fool himself. He was not concocting long-standing lies that would reach various people or form some campaign of misinformation or unverifiable fact. He was arguing with individual members on his forums with multi-paragraph long responses.
For no reason. Why the fuck am I doing that? Because I'm insanely insecure at this point and falling apart in my head.
As the users had grown accustomed to, Phil was blaming "this is how you don't plays" for his failings, calling them slanderous. A user of his chat was even banned for stating that they enjoyed their job and wouldn't prefer streaming. Phil was fighting with the very concept that the loss of viewership was his fault. It's a wonder what this fight with reality was doing to him. Out of his continued desperation, he was back on Twitch asking for more paid subscribers. Phil's loss of viewership had him left with the most dedicated supporters and detractors watching his streams. The worst part for Phil was this balancing act between dismissing detractors and appeasing supporters. Quote, "I seriously need to start convincing people that YouTube isn't going to support me anymore, so they need to pledge a Patreon and or sub, give bits here. Because at this rate, it's a joke. I'm on pace to make half as much in December this year as I did last year, playing 4 new games. Just got a notification my bank account is overdrawn. Luckily, my machinima payment is literally coming through today." Unquote. To add salt to the wound, the infamous clip of Phil was strong in circulation even at the end of 2016.
Yep.
That face.
2017 started just as bad for Phil, as he announced that he had been renting his condo out in Connecticut, but that was no longer the case. More would be lost this year than any other.
Yep. Basically, what happened was, when I moved out of Connecticut, I couldn't sell the condo because the value of the condo had plummeted when I owned it. So I owed way more on the mortgage than it was worth. So I couldn't sell it. If I sold it, I wouldn't have enough money to pay off the mortgage. So when I moved, my aunt moved in there. Okay, now my aunt was elderly. And the thing was, she was going to live there for many years so she could be closer to my mom, because the condo was right near where my parents live. You know, my aunt was the sister of my mother. And so the arrangement was she was going to pay me a certain amount of money a month as rent, and it was going to be working like that for as long as possible. My aunt fell down, broke her hip, and was stuck on the ground for almost 24 hours. No one knew. My mom went to visit her and she had the key to the house, found her on the floor, basically near death. And so she had to go into hospice for the rest of her life, which only lasted about another year. And now out of nowhere, I'm stuck with a condo with no renter. And I contacted certain rental agencies in Connecticut, and they actually said, "We refuse to rent your condo and take care of it for you," because you could pay a company to do it for you, to find a renter and handle all that shit, because your condo is in what's considered a high-risk area of Connecticut, where there are so many people who rent and then don't abide by the rules or don't pay rent and squat, that no one wants to touch it with a 10-foot pole. So I couldn't rent it. So literally, not only am I losing all this money, my personal life is falling apart, now this supplemental income that I was receiving every month from my aunt is gone, and there is no prospects of me finding a way to replace it. I'm fucked. And this was the beginning of my monstrous financial downfall. This was the beginning of the end for me at this point. Okay?
On February 26, 2017, Phil participated with his viewers in a game of Quiplash 2. A game with pre-established questions that could be answered in any way. The goal is to win the favor of the competitors with the most compelling answer. This quickly delved into the memes, both surface level and personal, around Phil. For example, his seal laugh or ack ack ack.
DSP tries a KFC Gold Chicken or make more ad revenue than Phil. The seal, that's cool. They're both good.
None of these had any major effect as Phil played along with the roasts. It wasn't until a player shoehorned in an answer that caused chaos.
Uh-oh. Leanna, I don't even know what that means. Leanna's fake engagement ring. Huh? What does that mean? I never gave her an engagement ring, so I don't know what that even means. I don't understand. Is there something in the detractor circles about a fake engagement ring? What are you talking about?
I don't even know about this. Let's see what this is about, because I don't remember this at all. A fake engagement ring? Maybe this will be where we end for the night on this topic. Let's see.
I didn't give her an engagement ring. What? People are weird. What does that even mean? Some stupid inside joke that I don't understand. What does that mean? It won, and it makes no sense whatsoever to anyone who's not in the inclusive circle jerking circle. That makes no sense at all. What does that mean? Is there actually like some kind of a joke about an engagement ring? Huh? Leanna posted it on her own Twitter. What are you talking about? It's about one of her Twitter pictures.
I really don't remember this at all. I don't remember this. Let's see what this is. I still don't remember this. No, I'm not bothered by it at all, Bruno. I literally don't remember this happening at all. So I'm curious like what this is. Keep in mind, again, during this time, there's a lot of things going on between me and my ex, and our relationship was like on and off, falling apart. So I really don't even remember the specifics of this.
What are you talking about?
Yeah, I'm just as confused as
that
past
just
Phil.
shows how mind-fucked and stupid the people are who do this shit. These detractor idiots. Because no human would know what the fuck they're talking about. It's some completely inside.
Fresh, right there in the chat, Fresh Jive TV said, bro, this is your girlfriend. You don't read her own Twitter post? No, I didn't read her Twitter at all. I never read her Twitter post.
Joke they made up for themselves that no one would know anything about at all. It doesn't make any sense. It makes zero fucking sense. And yet it ends up being the big winner at the end of the game. That's so fucking stupid.
As was revealed to Phil through a video game, Panda Lee had been wearing a fake engagement ring to her job. Dissatisfied in the relationship and the lack of progress towards marriage, this was her way of lashing out and participating in the drama on Twitter.
No, I don't know about this at all. I really don't know about this. This is the first time I know of this. I swear to God, I didn't know about this. I just must have blown it off that night and never looked into it ever again. I had no fucking clue that she was wearing a fake engagement ring to work until this very moment. Wow. I told you I was going to learn some stuff watching this. I had no fucking clue. None.
Quote, oh shit, he knows about the fake engagement ring I wear to work that I wear all the time? How could he have known? Unquote. Panda Lee then posts the ring itself, captioned with Ringgate 2017. Panda Lee allegedly also took off work to experience the live drama that was unfolding. With her displeasure with Phil near its climax, it was a surprise they did not separate there. In the limelight instead was Machinima. With the app.
No, I don't even. That's it? That's all he's gonna say? I don't remember this. No, I don't remember this. I still don't remember this. There's like a hole in my memory. How the fuck? How do I not remember this? Did someone? I feel like Will Smith came in here and flashed my head like Men in Black. I don't remember this at all. I have, you know, again, maybe because again the relationship was falling apart. So maybe I just like wasn't aware of it. Because again, we weren't spending all our time together and everything. We weren't. She was out hanging out with other friends and shit, and she was barely in the house for a long time. You know? So maybe that's when it was happening or something. That's probably what it was. I told you, we were living together, but we were essentially roommates. Like, we weren't actually, like, romantic anymore for almost a year during the end of that time period. So very much, maybe she was doing it. I just had no clue. I wasn't aware of any of it. I was basically fooling the internet. I didn't tell anyone that this was happening. So everyone was under the impression that we're all still close and we're, you know what I mean? But that we weren't. So basically, this all happened behind my back and I had no clue and I never ever understood it. That's what I mean. I wasn't reading her Twitter at all. So I don't know anything about this. This 100% has blindsided me. Holy shit. By the way, I received a $2 tip. Let's see here. Before the Goodyear blimp says my tips are off, it actually should be $10 more. So it should be $187. Okay. And this is a $2 tip. All right, thank you for that. Oh, excuse me. Why is Panda Lee's name a warning by Nightbot? Because people would come in here, my detractors, and would say it all the time to harass me, basically. Because they're idiots. So that's why. Just like after tonight, after we're done with this documentary, no one's going to need to bring her up again. You know what I mean? It was just detractors would come in here with bots and shit with her name. So, okay. On Bloom Kid, thanks for the super chat. I had missed it. He's talking about my exclusive release on stream and how exciting it was. Okay. Should we do? All right. Should we do one more segment? How long is this segment? I'd like to do one more. It's only 4. Okay, let's do it. Let's do this quickly. This will be where we end. And then I guess tomorrow we'll pick up with the breakup. Okay? All right, let's do it. Let's do this final segment about Machinima and Poltavi.
Apocalypse in full swing, earnings down, and the company model a complete failure, they had less support to answer creators who were feeling the brunt of the loss of ad revenue. Contacts meant for dire situations.
Oh, no!
That's when on February 28th, a Machinima employee reached out to Phil and gave...
I used the wrong keyboard and it fast forward. Let's do this again. I screwed up. Sorry about that. What the hell's going on?
In the limelight instead was Machinima. With the apocalypse in full swing, earnings down, and the company model a complete failure, they had less support to answer creators who were feeling the brunt of the loss of ad revenue. Phil, being one of these creators, reached out, but Machinima was slow to answer. And so he was emailing not just former employees that had been fired without his knowledge, but emergency contacts meant for dire situations. That's when on February 20...
That's not true at all. I only emailed 2 people. One person used to be a contact who I worked with at Machinima who had offered me free like free games and stuff as promotions with Machinima, and the other person was supposed to be my direct line of contact for Machinima on anything. It was not an emergency contact only for emergencies. Like I could talk to that guy about anything. Neither of those people had worked for Machinima anymore. They were laid off.
28th, a Machinima employee reached out to Phil and gave him the basic advice to increase his audience retention and kindly to not message other departments. Phil's full, alleged response was locked in on Machinima's request to not message other departments. Phil used his history with the company as a reason to act in the way he pleases and demands better treatment. If he is not treated better, he states he is better off not working with them.
That's right.
Machinima, more than happy to oblige, released Phil from the contract. After all, per their contract, they were only losing money with Phil because he was earning 100% of the ad revenue. Phil was relating this moment to when he got fired from his office job in 2010. As seen per Fred Fox capturing of Phil's Twitch chats, Phil was acting as if he was blindsided by his own requests, stating, quote, "There is no 2 or 1 month notice. That is complete BS, lol, but this situation is pretty unique," unquote. In a video released shortly after, Phil dissects his separation of Machinima, then dissects it again and again and again, then loses his train of thought, thanks his followers, asks for donations, and again restates what has been overtly established, yet never provides a satisfactory answer. That's why his video is nearly 2 hours long to explain that the contract with Machinima has been terminated. And as per the description, quote, "I cannot give all the details, but in this video I explain what's going on," unquote. This is all beyond minutia. That besides Phil's uncreditableness or dishonest nature is why few would ever care for his side of the events. His long-windedness buries his own reasoning or retelling of events even further than it.
This is cool. This is cool. The picture right here, it's like animation and stuff. That's supposed to be like my room. That's a really cool animation he made for this.
Several uploads a day do. For any controversial moment, Phil is certain to extend what should be a clear and concise response into a multi-page long essay or hour-long video. It took about 10 days or so for Phil's channel to be fully released. And then, it took about an additional week for him to fight various content ID claims himself, as would normally be the responsibility of Machinima. Phil was quick to find a different multi-channel network to partner with. This time it was Curse. Unlike Machinima, who was trying to inflate the numbers, Curse did not give Phil a 100% cut of ad revenue, nor was he in a managed partnership. This means that they would not be responsible for his 30 or so content ID claims that he was getting a day on his 40,000 uploaded videos. The ongoing developments of 2017 were scarcely predictable. In April, Phil submitted to Pandalee's request and per her Instagram post, were now engaged. The detractors' persistent monitoring allowed them to find the ring almost immediately. It was one that Pandalee personally liked on her Black Currant account, which is the name of her soap-making business. Detractors, tracing this back to Amazon, found that Phil had spent on the lower end for this ring, a testament to his detractors' obsession and/or Phil's dwindling finances. By May, Phil had concluded a 2-month-long talk with a different network that introduced themselves as Poltavi. They offered Phil a cut similar to Curse and a managed partnership. And while he found Poltavi unprofessional in their exchanges, he found their offer to be too enticing to give up and severed his partnership with Curse. though Phil had made a great mistake.
This is all untrue. Well, it's half true, okay? So Poltavi's a scam. They don't exist. They were a different company entirely. They had lied about who they were. But I had talked to Curse about this, and I said, I like being with you guys, but I mean, you have to understand this company is like promising me the world. I'd like to experiment with them, but I'm not going to give them full control of my channels. I'm only going to give them control of one of my 3 channels. Or excuse me, one of my 2 channels. No, it was 3 at the time. I had 3 channels at the time. That's right. I said, I'm going to give them only control of one. I'm going to see if they live up to their promise of making it a managed partnership. If they do, then I'm going to go fully with all 3 channels. If not, I'd like to really go back to you guys right away. And Curse 100% understood what I was saying and said, yeah, if you can get a managed partnership with someone else, we understand why you would want that. Go with it. And if it doesn't work out, come back to us. Okay, so I had this agreement with Curse behind the scenes. I never fully trusted Poltavi at all. I never gave them access to all 3 of my channels at all because I did think that they were over-promising a lot of shit, and I wanted to test the waters and see if it was going to work or not. Okay?
Poltavi's unprofessional nature was foreboding, and they quickly turned around and disregarded the partnered element. With all this happening in the background, the sons of Kojima found out through Phil's channel's source page that he had a new partnership. Not with Curse or even Poltavi as Phil understood it. He was partnered with an entirely new network known as Leveria Media, and as revealed, was using Poltavi as a front to disguise their own network and shady practices. The CEO was found to be just a student at a university. Phil, understanding his mistake, sought to leave his new network. The sons of Kojima allegedly even got the CEO of Leveria Media on for one of their podcasts. This was a confusing set of events for everyone involved. While all this was going on, Phil was in the process of purchasing a new car. For the past 6 years, he had been leasing a BMW. In the last 3 years, he had only driven the BMW 6,000 miles and so never changed the oil.
You know, BMW, that's true. That's absolutely true. I never changed the oil on the car. What he's not saying here is that I didn't want the BMW for 8 years. I had a lease in Connecticut, and I had renewed the lease, and I was only like a year into this next lease. And when I moved, they basically said, if you don't, like, take the car with you, you have to pay the remainder of your fucking lease right now because you signed a lease. You can't get out of it. So I kept the car, and they actually shipped the BMW all the way across the car, or across the country. When I moved from Connecticut to Washington, I was stuck with a BMW, and I couldn't afford it, really. It was expensive, and I was stuck with this lease for like another 3 years. I was rejoicing when the lease finally expired in 2017, and I could go get a less expensive car. So BMW really kind of screwed me in that regard and stuck me with this contract that I didn't want. You're supposed to get maintenance for free no matter what. That's part of the deal. That's why the car is so expensive. And they never contacted us to get it changed.
Phil's audience long understood he was financially illiterate, but hadn't been yet exposed to how illiterate he was with cars or the contracts related to them. That's why whenever other content creators discover both, it makes for an interesting watch.
In 3 years, we only drove the car 6,000 miles. So, if that gives you any idea...
He what? He leased a car for $400 or $500 a month, and he's only drove it 6,000 miles in 3 years?
I barely drove at all. Cherry Dude's like, oh, you could have engine damage. No, Cherry Dude, that's not how it works. BMW has a diagnosis computer inside of the car that tells you when things go wrong. So, if there were engine damage...
Oh my god! Hey, this guy's a living meme! No, it's not. BMW has diagnosis computer in the car, okay?
And they never, it does. BMW does have a diagnosis computer in the car that tells you when things are wrong. That's completely true. They never contacted us to get it changed.
Why would they contact you to change your oil?
Because under the terms of the lease, BMW is responsible for all maintenance on their cars, and they are supposed to contact you when you have the time limit expire to change the oil. But because I moved the car from Connecticut to Washington, they shirked all responsibility and pretended like they didn't have to do anything. I called, and the place out here was like, we don't service your car. That's a Connecticut car. You only get that service in Connecticut. I was like, what? So I got fucked. BMW literally fucked me. Okay.
Destiny, the person reacting to Phil's explanation, calls Phil the salesman stream. Wanting to help Phil out, Destiny jumped onto Phil's stream and began typing in his chat, attempting to provide financial advice. Phil, of course, ignored this, and on his forums he posted, quote, Destiny, a Twitch streamer who I never even heard of before 2 weeks ago, came into my chat and practically begged me to stop what I'm doing and talk with him. What the fuck can this guy tell me about buying cars that I don't already know? This guy probably didn't know I went to school for finance.
That's great. No, that's really great. That's hilarious. No, he didn't jump into the chat, all right, during my stream and be like, hey, you know, you're talking about cars and I want to help you out. No, I was playing a video game. I was doing a video game stream. I remember it was that game Prey. And I was not talking about cars, nothing. He comes into my chat and he's trying to derail my entire stream. Hey, can you drop everything you're doing right now with your business to talk to me about buying a new car? No. If you had contacted me and said, hey, Phil, would you like to set up a stream we could do together to talk about cars? Maybe I would have said yes. Maybe I would have said no. He literally wedged himself into my stream. Imagine if right now Destiny came into the chat and said, Phil, I know you're reacting to your own documentary, but I really want to talk to you about this great financing on dishwashers right now. Okay? Do you want to know what I would do? I would ban him. Just like I did then. I would say, what the fuck are you doing? Get the fuck out of my chat, and I would ban him. Okay? So that's all that happened. All right?
Unquote. Phil, still in the mindset of discussing the drama around the networks, was talking about it on stream.
I trusted YouTube's system to work properly, okay? Here's what happened. So, that was Monday, I think Monday morning or whatever, okay? I think, uh-oh. Hold on one second, everybody. I'll be right back. I'm getting an important phone call. Folks, I've got a family emergency. It came...
Oh, is this... Okay. This is, I think, where I wanted to end it. This is the next topic, correct? Yes, this is the breakup. So, all right. This is where we'll end it for tonight. Perfect. Now we know where to end it. At the breakup. This is where we'll pick it up tomorrow. This is actually exactly the time I wanted to end it at tonight. So that's good that we did that. And we do this tomorrow. We do the breakup, the continued downfall, new relationship, Phil is a meme, taxes, no one likes him, bankruptcy, WWE champions. Hopefully we can get through all that tomorrow. And then the goal would be for the final stream to be the last stuff over here. Okay? We'll have to see. But there you go. All right, everyone. So as I went late tonight because I wanted to get to the point I wanted to get to. We literally wasted so much time on that incredibly stupid PC story. I can't believe we wasted so much time on it because it's so insignificant to anything. But here we are. All right. And I want to say again, thank you all for everyone who was here live, who was a great audience. Thanks to those who supported the stream. 33 straight streams crushing it, right? Thank you. Really awesome. And we're halfway through. So we're in, now we can actually officially say tomorrow, we're heading downhill. We're in the home stretch, okay? And I will leave this as an archive stream. For those watching this on demand, I hope you enjoyed it. You know, and thank you, everyone. Same time, same place tomorrow, and we continue on. All right, everybody? I got to get out of here. So thanks so much for a great night. You're a great audience. Tomorrow we do it all again. Have a good night, everyone. Peace out, and see you tomorrow. Bye-bye.